This is a special presentation of the Golf Channel. Every time a professional golfer tees up, he's seeking perfection. For 9 holes yesterday, Anders Forsbrand of Sweden achieved it. After the first round, Des Smith and Santiago Luna led on 3 under par, and Anders Forsbrand was 5 behind in 41st place. By the second day, Constantino Rocca, helped by a record 65, had moved 6 under. Anders Forsbrand had moved to 29th, but he was now 9 off the pace. But Forsbrand on 4 under par with Cejka led after 3 rounds, helped by a record 64.
Well, after I birdied 7 and 8, and it was like a 3-footer down the hill on 8, and then hit a good second shot on 9, but just hit the bank and went through, and that 8-10-footer was pretty important.
Already this season, Jarmo Sandlin has won in the Canaries, Robert Karlsson in Valencia. Can Anders Forsbrand make it 3 Swedish wins in 7 weeks? A magnificent performance by Anders Forsbrand yesterday with that record 64. But Peter, he's unlikely to go to the turn today in 29 and shoot another 64.
I would say so. 29, a record for himself. He said the front 9 was the best he'd ever played, tee to green for 9 holes, so unlikely he'll repeat, but he's playing very well. He's
on 4 under par, and he's tied for the lead with Alexander Cejka from Germany. I know that you've been impressed by him.
I've just watched him hit balls. He's made 5 cuts out of 5 tournaments played this year. He's a determined young man. Interestingly enough, only has used a driver a couple of times around throughout the tournament, driving with a 1-iron, and looked to be keeping up quite easily with the other players' drivers.
We've had some first-time winners on tour this year. Cejka could continue the sequence.
I think he could. I don't think he lacks determination. I don't think he lacks skill. But we'll see whether lack of experience is going to cost him.
Just 2 behind Paolo Carici. He has not won on tour. And Wayne Riley. Now, there is a player whose talent is perhaps better than many people imagine.
Yes, I think he's very often overlooked. Been around a long time, has the experience, but still, to win takes a little luck, a little of everything.
Well, at the end of the day, I suppose Forsbrand is the favourite, and we have had 2 Swedish winners already this year in Jarmo Sandlin and last week with Robert Karlsson. Can Forsbrand continue the Swedish domination of the tour this week?
I certainly think he can. He may well be inspired by the youngsters, the young Swedes winning and saying, hey, I need to re-establish myself as the dominant Swede. He's won 5 times on the tour, more than any other Swede, and he has many reasons to want to win today.
So at the end of the day, perhaps experience against youth on this final day, with Forsbrand the favourite to win. The favourite to win the Turespaña Open Andalucia at Islantia at Huelva. The course 6,116 metres long, a par 71. And this the 13th hole, which has proved so troublesome over the 3 days. A par 4 playing more like a par 5. Trouble all the way from tee to green and behind it. This is where we are in southern Spain, just close to the border with Portugal's Algarve, and more particularly the Alantila Golf Club, one of the many courses in Andalucia. And there on the first tee Forsbrand, the man who holds the course record. Yesterday began with 3 birdies, and will be looking today for a similar start to frighten off the opposition on this final day. He's had 7 wins on tour, and arguably the most experienced of the Swedish players. And as you say, Peter, no doubt spurred into action by the performances of some of the younger players. The hole that they're going to be playing first, and a reasonably simple par 4.
But it's been giving the players quite a bit of trouble. One of the more difficult holes during the week, certainly on the front 9, 4.19. 5th most difficult of all the holes. Relatively simple, bunkers left and right of the green, but it's important to hit the fairway. They can get stuck behind trees on the right side.
Wayne Riley.
Well, Wayne Riley, but that's how they pronounce his name in
Stand
Spain.
still, please.
But of course it's Wayne Riley from Australia. 2 behind. We've seen a lot of players in the trees on the left-hand side.
Not in the trees, but with the pin tucked back left today. That's not the right side to be. Although going too far right gets blocked out by trees.
Alexander Cejka from Germany. Born in what was Czechoslovakia, but now a naturalized German citizen living in Munich. And well, he is even worse placed than Riley. Well, what can Forsbrand do?
All these players playing for position with irons. A tee shot of about 240 yards, which they can expect with an iron with a little roll off on these firm fairways. Leaves them almost 150 to the pin today. Forsbrand looking at that anxiously. And this is going to be a tough one if he expects to put it on the green.
Well, everybody just seemed to go from bad to worse there. The edge of the fairway, then just on the edge of the tree line, and then finally Forsbrand into the trees. Problems for the leading group on this final day. Marc-Antoine Farry, and what a fine start by Farry.
One under starting the day, now 2 under. Paul McGinley on the par 3 second. Just topples in. Pin today on the second, tricky one, front right. And a nice birdie for McGinley.
So Mark Farry moves to 2 under and joins the group lying joint third behind Cejka and Forsbrand. McGinley up there on par. He's just 4 shots off the lead. We'll be back with more golf in just a moment. Cloudy today, perhaps just the threat of rain later in the afternoon, but the wind not blowing the way it has for earlier rounds, and certainly not as strongly as it did on day 1. Well, the first man to get in a good birdie putt at the first of those in the leading groups was the Frenchman from Paris, Marc-Antoine Farry. He's playing the second, and he has played this hole very consistently.
We've had a number of players have trouble to the left of the green. An awkward tee shot, a little up the hill, difficult to see what's going on at the green. And although it's only playing 150 yards today, 165 the official yardage, a tough pin placement.
72, 71, 69 in earlier rounds for Farry, and that's a nice bounce. One down the hill just as much as he would have liked, but back on the first Forsbrand.
And we'll see if Forsbrand has a little more room to maneuver than it looked from our original camera angle. He'll probably have to roll this right to left, a little extra use of the right hand. Closing the face through impact, rolling it over. And he overdid it. That's a tricky one. The nerves are jangling a little bit. Coming over the corner of the bunker, a nasty little ridge on the side of the green as well.
And you saw how far he was into the trees. He had to walk out there to just see where the ball had finished. Forward to the second, and yesterday Korichi had a birdie 2 here. Swiss now being coached by Jan Blomqvist, who has had a great deal to do with the Swedes over the years. The other member of this group, John Robson, has hit his tee shot and missed the green.
I like Paolo's swing. Tall man, full turn, hands high. Classic swing. And right over the pin, but too far. Safely on the green though.
27 years old, and comes from Lugano, and a former Swiss junior champion and Italian amateur champion. Speaks 4 or 5 languages, including that very special language they speak in Zurich, which is a mixture of German and local Swiss. There's not such a language as that, as Cejka plays his second.
Trying to work it in right to left. And what a bounce on the first hole. He was actually fortunate to be outside the gallery ropes. He was on some hard-packed ground. That's what the players like, can control the shot off that type of turf better than they can out of the rough. And the average score on the first hole going down, probably Mark Farry's birdie knocked it down 1/100th of a stroke. Still 4.18, and the pin tucked back left today. And you can see the ridge just left of the pin. That's the left side of the green. It's raised up from the bunker, which is left of that. And Riley trying to hold on to this one. This may be too far left as well. A little tight on the left side, and look at the difference in the luck of the bounce there. Cejka's ball further left, bounced off the fringe, almost a tap-in birdie.
Ahead to the third, Barry Lane. Par 5.
Par 5 with the very narrow driving area at about 275. Hard fairway. Whether Barry thinks he can hit a long iron and still reach the green in 2, but it's a narrow driving area, so he's trying to play safe, keep it in play.
Parred the first 2 holes at Barry Lane. And who knows, you were suggesting that he might just be a man who could come through on this final day if the leaders slip up. Well, it's early in the round to have such a testing little shot as this, Peter.
You could see it's an awkward one. Over the bunker, and then across the corner of that ridge. If he doesn't hit it hard enough, it'll shoot off the ridge to the right. Probably trying to take all those slopes out of play. People moving behind the green, distracting him. Pretty tight lies around the front of these greens. Bermuda grass in the fairways, bent grass on the greens, and bent grass approaches. Cejka putting the pressure on already with that good bounce. Club bounced through that hard turf. Ball jumped off the face and always too long.
So just the possibility of a two-shot swing between the two players leading going into this final round. Possibility that Forsbrand might take 5 and every chance of Cejka getting 3. Constantino Roccas third at the par 5. 65 on day 2, 78 yesterday, but still managed a smile or two in the hotel last night. Still feels that he can come through on this final day and certainly, if not win, get a very useful check.
Well, smiling and trying to laugh off a 78 is about the only thing you can do. It was a disastrous round, especially after such a good second round. Ray Cook, a famous designer of putters.
Just put the stake back in.
More well known for the mallet head putters than
it.
the centre shaft. And Karici, good looking tee shot a little far. Didn't get that one rolling well. And John Robson missing green on the left. That's with about an 8-iron, so that's not a good shot from Robson playing with Karici.
Wayne Riley from Australia, from Sydney in Australia. He's one of those players who now uses the broomstick putter. And this week he has used it well, notably yesterday at the 17th. He was quite chirpy this morning. I wonder if he's got that eagerness and happiness onto the golf course. Good approach putt though, Peter. Safe par.
Yes, it was. Like Cejka, Wayne Riley's played 5 tournaments so far this year. 9th just last week. And he was 3rd in Dubai, the first event on the Volvo Tour. And John Robson not testing out his chipping, deciding to go with a putter from the rough ground to the left of the second.
Always difficult to judge Robson, who parred the first and is still 1 under.
Okay.
His best performance this year, 33rd in the Canaries. Forsbrand then for 4.
Wait.
1 shot dropped at least.
Very little, isn't it?
And a wild tee shot, perhaps fortunate to have as much as of a shot at the green as he did, but he overhooked it.
An early indication now of Cejka's nerve. A good opening birdie 3 for Cejka. He will not be afraid to win. He moves to 5 under par, and now the leader on his own. And well, Forsbrand is definitely going to drop a shot, so Cejka will have a 2-shot lead. It's just possible, I suppose, that Forsbrand might even miss this one, in which case Cejka would find himself very quickly 3 shots clear.
Forsbrand was in contention last week in Valencia, started with 2 bogeys, really put himself out of it, wasn't able to put any pressure on Robert Karlsson. Came back towards the end and finished tied for second.
So 5 then for Forsbrand. He slips back to 3 under. He's lying second now, 2 shots off the lead. And that's the sound of Riley tapping in there as he gets his par as ahead on the second Mark Farry. John Robson will drop a shot and he will slip back to par, dropping a shot at the second, but it's the German Alexander Cejka, 2 shots clear. after just one hole of this final round. Welcome back, looking away across the flatter land towards Huelva. It was down in this area of Spain that the British first played golf before the turn of the century, and the oldest soccer club down here as well. This is the third hole that they're playing in the Turespaña Open Andalucia. Peter.
Many of the players using irons just to make sure they put it in the fairway, and that's what Barry Lane did from the tee. Then he laid up with another iron to here, relying on an accurate sand wedge to give him a birdie. And a little fortunate, it's an uphill pitch. The pin behind a mound in front of the green. On the right side there was a mound guarding the pin front left yesterday.
Back on the tee, Mark Farry, 140th in the money list last year, lost his card, but starting well this season. He did miss 3 cuts, but he was 20th in the South African PGA Championship, which is part of the Volvo Tour.
And going aggressively with the driver, and that's a long one. He may well be able to get there just with a mid-iron. Once it gets bounding down that hill, that's a great drive. Those bunkers 270 from the tee. Mark Farry's perhaps 30 or 40 yards past that.
Not have too many French winners on the Volvo Tour. Jean van der Velde won in Rome, and he was the first winner in many years. Is that too far left? Oh, it's perfect.
Very safe, but Farry forcing the issue with the driver there. Very impressive play. A bold club selection and a great drive.
Back to the second with our leader, Cejka. He and his family escaped from what was then Czechoslovakia in 1980 through Yugoslavia and Italy to Germany. And 3 years ago, he became a naturalized German.
And with this front pin placement, that bunker just to the right of the green, certainly in play. Just 4 yards of green between the pin placement and the right edge. So safely on the left side for Cejka. Wayne Riley leaning as if that might be a little left also. Very safe. Even though it's 150 yards.
Just looking at the breeze getting up a bit again, Peter. It's been quite calm most of the morning.
Much more so than other mornings. It's been cold and windy the first 3 mornings of the tournament.
Paul McGinley's third shot to the par 5 third. McGinley with rounds of 71, 74, and yesterday a 69.
Forsbrand after his bogey. Let's see if he goes straight at the pin, tries to get it back right away. And it's always going to come off that ridge. The danger is going a couple of yards further left, and it scampers into the trees and onto rocky ground. Very difficult to recover from there.
Well, 3.08, the average, the media, if you like, in Spanish. That's the word they use for average. So this hole has played quite difficult over the 3 days, as Forsbrand attempting to shoot the 52nd birdie of the week at this hole. Bobbled quite a bit on the green just after it left the club face, and no birdie. Tough competitor, Anders Forsbrand, and still a long way to go. And sometimes a little mistake or a slip up at the first just means you concentrate that little bit more hard for the remaining holes.
Something could serve as a reminder. Keep him on his toes on his long game. That hook was very much the wrong shot off the first tee. Perhaps it kicked something in to Forsbrand. He says, oh, I must remember to do this, do that. Sometimes in the heat of the moment off the first tee, you can forget quite basic things.
Riley for a 2. Just a little bit tentative coming down the slope there, Wayne Riley, former Australian Open champion. Birdied the last 3 holes at Royal Melbourne, holding across the green, a 45-footer on the last to beat the amateur, or the then amateur, Robert Allenby, who looked like winning the title that year. Robert Allenby, of course, has since turned professional and has since won the Australian Open at Royal Sydney last year. You saw that a few weeks ago on the Golf Channel. Too very tentative. A
lot of players have been short putting from the left side of the screen. They have the ridge to the left of the green, makes the player perhaps think it's downhill, which it isn't.
Paul McGinley for a birdie, just missing out. We saw Barry Lane play his approach shot. Well, he did get his par. So Barry Lane remaining at 1 over par. Back on the second, Forsbrand, to avoid dropping successive shots at the first 2 holes.
Good work.
Riley and Cejka still to go.
Boldly holed by Wayne Riley. And although he hasn't won on the Volvo Tour, those wins overseas all mean something. The experience of handling the winning opportunity.
And Cejka equally bold with his putt for his par 3 at the second. He remains 2 shots clear of Forsbrand, 3 in front of Farry, Riley and Puero Carici. But remember that Mark Farry had a marvellous tee shot down the second. And I think that Peter, he can reach the green. It's a long way.
On the third, yes, a monster drive. You probably have less than 200 to the front of the green, though. The whole 530 yards. He does still have to go across those trees. Might be able to see the right corner of the green from where he was. A great line, but just needed about 10 more yards. As you can see, a good line coming across those trees.
Two good shots there from Mark Farey, which indicate just how well, however, he is playing, and perhaps he will be the man who comes through on this last day at Islantia. Let's check that leaderboard. Cejka on 5 under, Forsbrand 3 under, Farey, Corici and Riley 2 under par. Back in a moment. Really a bit choppy out there on the Atlantic Ocean, which sweeps into the shore here at southern Spain at 12 up. That's away behind Anders Forsbrand as he tees off at 3. Oh no.
Turning it over right to left, trying to really drill it down the fairway. And it's a long way, but down the left, and he'll have to turn it over again from there. The trees certainly blocking his second shot.
We'll go forward to the green with Paolo Corici.
Looked to be a good crisp hit. And lots of backspin. Up the hill, what wind there is against on numbers 3, 4, 5. That's the prevailing wind, which hopefully stays this way for the players, will be behind, helping them on the 13th. The horrible par 4 on the back.
Off tape, Cejka.
Hello.
Using his 1 iron again, using it almost exclusively, just a couple of times with the driver. Perhaps on the 8th, the par 5. There's a bit more room, and an awkward bunker shot here. 25 to 30 yards up the hill. Needs a good full swing. And he's lucky it didn't roll back down the hill into the bunker. A little bit too much sand. And it was an awkward distance. And especially having to hit it up to the green as well.
Well, that's John Robson, who's just chipped in for an eagle 3. Robson dropping a shot at the second, but getting that shot back and improving by a further shot to 2 under with a 3. That will set him up for the day. John Robson from Essex in England, who won a Challenge Tour event in Tunisia. His best this year has been 33rd in the Canary Islands. And, well, he can stand back and just let his 2 playing partners today continue their action here at the 3rd. Jose Maria Olazabal, we've been watching all week, and this is his first competitive round of the year, competitive tournament of the year. He has had one 3 today. He's playing his round from the 10th, and he's 1 under par for 6 holes on the back 9, and believe me, the way things have been going on the back 9, that represents solid golf.
A very solid play. Whether he hit those greens in 2 or scrambled around and made some pars, if you make a par at 13 and 14, you've done something very well indeed. And overall, I think Olazabal very happy with the way things are going, the progress he's made health-wise and with his game. And Mark Ferry, after really a tremendous drive, setting himself up for an easy birdie, now struggling to make a par. And with Corici hitting a nifty wedge shot, Robson pitching in, Ferry's not feeling too good.
Well, we were talking about Robson and holding his 3rd shot. We recorded it for you, and this is how it happened.
From below the level of the green. Beautiful rhythm on that shot.
One bounce and it disappeared.
It wasn't going to be far away even if it missed the pin. He hit that beautifully, lovely soft trajectory. Probably settled down maybe 2 feet past the pin if it had missed, but beautifully holed.
Fine eagle 3 there then from John Robson.
Wayne Riley laying up on the 3rd, the group in front still putting. That seems to be the most common way to play this hole, and he won't be happy with that. You've got to concentrate even on those layup shots to wide open fairways. Now he's got what should be a simple pitch shot coming out of the rough, so minimizes his chance to put some spin on the ball. And this for a par for Mark Ferry.
Just looking at the whole statistics here, John Robson's eagle 3 was the 3rd eagle at this hole this week, but the first, I'm sure, that was from off the green. Ferry for his par then, as Peter said. Well, he would have been very annoyed to have taken 6.
Well, that was confidently holed. Quite a lot of right hand helping that one in, but ripped it in the back. So he's a little upset he missed an opportunity to make birdie, but that was a good putt in the circumstances. This was moments ago. Corici for his birdie.
So he moves to 3 under par, and he grabs a share of 2nd place with Anders Forsbrand. Ironically, both of them coached by Blomqvist. They're 2 behind Cejka, and with the green cleared, that's Wayne Riley.
That was actually Anders Forsbrand.
Sorry, Peter.
Renton playing safe across the corner. He was so far on the left side he really couldn't choose to play an aggressive shot. And we have Robson. It was a beautiful shot. Good chance to watch it again. The flight was almost as soft as this in regular speed.
That's the way to do it, Peter, isn't it?
It was very well played. A beautiful touch.
Well done by John Robson, who moved up to 2 under and is now in joint 4th place with Ferry, who should have birdied that 3rd hole, and Wayne Riley, who's playing the 3rd. Ahead of these 3, Paolo Corici, after his birdie at the 3rd, on 3 under with Anders Forsbrand. And out in front on 5 under, Alexander Cejka from Germany. Forsbrand, third shot, third.
Well played, even though his tee shot certainly wasn't positioned as he would have wanted it. Still has the birdie chance at the par 5. This is why players laying up off this tee, they know it's very difficult to hit the perfect drive to give them a chance at the green. So play safe for 4s and 5s. Don't run the risk of hitting a driver in the trees and being in trouble right off the bat. Wayne fortunate there's a bank behind this third green. Didn't need to get the spin coming out of the rough. Used the bank to help him set up a birdie chance. But a loose layup.
Cejka, the third member of the group, the man who's leading, is down there just below the green. Lucky to miss the bunker, or perhaps unlucky.
Well, sometimes these lies close to bunkers. It's a bit of sand, a bit of grass, tough to judge. He went aggressively at that one, and unlucky that it stopped as quickly as it did. But we've seen Corici roll his in from that exact line, left to right for a birdie. And a pretty good shot, as I said. A combination of sand and grass, tough to judge sometimes. And coming uphill, we put the pressure on just a bit more, and he seems to be able to handle things pretty well so far.
Well, Forsbrand, who is lying joint second at the present moment, not on that list, neither is Cejka. Forsbrand currently 22nd on the list. Peter Oosterhuis slipping the full list over to me there. But certainly I think a Swede whom Bernard Gallagher, the European team captain, will be thinking about if in fact he does not make the team automatically. He might well be a man that Bernard Gallagher would choose. Nick Faldo not on that list either, but Nick Faldo doing well in the Doral Ryder Open. He's lying joint third after 3 rounds, tied with Davis Love III on 12 under par, 3 behind Greg Norman and Peter Jacobsen, who's made a marvellous return to winning golf this season. And while the form of Nick Faldo will certainly please the European Ryder Cup captain Gallagher. The majors in America, by the way, whatever prize money is won by Europeans there will count once it's been converted to pound sterling for Ryder Cup points. So Faldo could well play himself in with performances in America this year.
All the way for Wayne Riley. He has a purposeful look about him today.
I must say I like Wayne Riley. He's calmed down a lot. His mentor used to be Jack Newton in Australia, and I think you know, Peter, that Jack was a pretty lively fellow when he was around on the Volvo Tour, and is still lively down in Australia, although his career cut short sadly and dramatically when he lost his right arm in an accident. Jose Maria Cannavaro is out in 33, 3 under, and look at that too, at the par 5 8th. So he has holed his second for a very rare albatross on tour. That's a double eagle, in case you're wondering what I'm talking about. No, Forsbrand doesn't get his 4 at 3.
Really never going in. He's looking a bit perplexed.
You've just got to keep calm at this point. There are plenty of holes to go, plenty of opportunities for your rivals to make mistakes.
And he managed 7 birdies in 8 holes yesterday, so he can't be far away from that groove. Hitting iron shots close, but of course he'll still have to make the putts to catch up. Now Cejka, let's see. We know it's left to right.
And this, Peter, for a 3-shot lead on the field. Nearly got away, but it fell in.
It was a good solid putt. It turned quite a lot, but he stayed down well, made a good solid stroke.
So Cejka tied for the lead at the start, 2 ahead of the field after 1 hole, and now 3 ahead after 3. Let's look at that putt again. Now it looked as if it was just going to miss. It just caught the hole, did a back flip, and fell in from almost the left side. 6 under par, Cejka, and 3 clear of Karici. Riley, who's just birdied that hole, and Forsbrand. And Forsbrand has this to stay in a share of 2nd spot. Confidently hold. Forsbrand 3 under. Well, quite a bit of movement on that leaderboard over the first 3 holes of this final round, with Alexander Cejka coming out very much on top. 2 birdies in the first 3 holes for Cejka, and 3 shots clear of Karici, who has started very solidly. Forsbrand, who looks a little bit more hesitant than he did yesterday. Wayne Riley on 3 under par as well, and looking good. Mark Farry and John Robson are 2 under, and David Carter, the only other player under par, lying 7th, the man who qualified, or was top qualifier in our school last year. Mark Mulland and Philip Price, both from Wales, are on par, along with Constantino Rocca and Paul McGinley. Andrew Sherborne, 3 under for today, is on 1 over par. Canizares we saw going well with that double eagle at the 8th, helping him. He's on 1 over. Carlson, Tarnow, David Williams, Owen O'Connell from Ireland. Last year's Rookie of the Year, Jonathan Lomas, on 1 over par, along with the experienced Barry Lane. Des Smith, who led after day 1, is now 2 over par with Linhart, Mitchell and Mayo. Sam Torrance with Olazabal on 3 over. Olazabal today 2 under par. Santiago Luna already a winner in that group on 3 over par. And on down the list. And Carl Mason, the defending champion, 5 over at this stage. And that means he's 11 shots off the lead on this occasion. Miguel Angel Jimenez. You may remember that we were talking about albatrosses, and we've had one today from Canizares. Well, this is what Miguel Angel Jimenez did at another Andalusian course at Valderrama last year in the 1994 Volvo Masters. This was Jimenez.
And this is quite a shot. A long iron over water to a small target.
Jimenez getting a double eagle in the Volvo Masters last year.
He had 2 birdies and an eagle to go with that double eagle. 7 under par for the week.
At that 1 hole. And today we've had Canizares of Spain having a double eagle. But out in front here at the moment, Alexander Cejka from Germany. Welcome back. Well, the sun is now out and the players moving along here at the Turespaña Open Andalucia. Cejka in the lead when you were last with us, and Alexander Cejka is still in the lead on a day when the wind has gone up just a little bit, just round about lunchtime, and the back nine is going to be tough for the leaders. Cejka 7 under now through 9. He did drop a shot at the 4th hole, but then had 2 more birdies. 7 under, leading by 2 from Forsbrand, who has just birdied 8 and 9, having started, as we know, with a dropped shot. Roca's doing well at 4 under. He's just had 3 birdies and an eagle in 8 holes, so he's coming back a bit. Corici on 3 under, and Mark Farry and Wayne Riley on 2 under par. But with that wind getting up, and there you can see just how stiffly the flags are flying above the scoreboard here at Islantia. Well, that just makes the back nine all that more difficult. And remember, the leaders in the event have still got to play the par 4 13th, the hole that really this week has been a par 5. Unlucky for some, unlucky for a great many, I would say. Well, we sent my co-commentator, Peter Oosterhuis, the former Ryder Cup player, former European #1, down to have a look at this hole, which has been so controversial this week, and he went along with the local pro, who happens to be a lady, Macriana Tay.
On the dreaded 13th tee with the head professional here at the Islantia Golf Club, Macriana Tay. Nice to be with you.
Thank you very
Congratulations on holding your position here.
Thanks.
And give us a little bit of your background. You played for the Spanish ladies team?
Yes, I played for 8 years. 8 years in the junior team and for 5 years in the amateur team.
And you're the only lady holding a head professional position in Spain, I understand.
Yes, the only one. The other play.
Well, congratulations on that. We're playing what is the 4th hole for members. You have 27 holes here at Islantia. You generally recommend to the high handicap players to avoid this 9 holes. It's a tricky 9 holes.
Yes, they never play here, never.
No.
There are a lot of holes. It's impossible to play for them.
So you don't, even if they want to, you say you go to the other 9?
No, go to the other.
Well, we're going to play it. The tournament professionals this week have been playing it as a par 5, laying up for 2, trying to be careful and not ruin their score. We'll see how we can do. We may be playing it the same way. How will you be attacking it?
I'm so nervous. I don't know what will happen. I don't know. I will play for bogey, that's why.
Well, I think so. I think we'll play. I think I'm going to play for a 5, and if I get a 4, that's just wonderful.
We'll be luck.
We'll be lucky. At least you've got the wind helping.
Yes, helps.
This hole, very dangerous. It has some length, 423 meters, over 460 yards, but very, very dangerous around the green.
This hole certainly makes you nervous, whether you're playing in the tournament or just for fun, as we are this afternoon. I'm going to try and hit my tee shot about 240 yards. It's downwind, which is going to help us today. The fairway's firm. I'm just going to hit a 3-iron, try to carry it maybe 200 yards from the tee, let it roll out there about 240. That's the plan. If I hit a good one, then maybe I'll decide to go for the green in 2, seeing as I don't have to protect my score. It's a bit too far left. I hope it doesn't go too far. But I got a good bounce. And I'm going to have a pretty blind second shot, but I'll might be able to go for the green in 2. Not so bad. Okay, we'll go forwards a little bit, Macarena.
Looks okay so far. Starts back nicely. Unfortunately, it doesn't get very much further than that. A little too short, not much margin for error at the top. Drops down right on the inside and drives on through. Overall, too short.
I'm happy to have got my shot out of the way. Now Macarena's on the tee. How are you feeling?
Nervous.
A little nervous, understandably. You're going to try and hit your shot to the end of the fairway before the dip?
Yes, of course, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, iron 5 now.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Good swing, lots of elevation, using the wind. And a lovely shot, good hard bounce. I think we're in good shape.
I think it's okay.
Maybe we'll go for the green in 2. Well done.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll go for the green in 2. And we're well positioned. Just over 200 yards to the front of the green and in good shape. Well, I'm armed with my yardage book, pin placement sheet, scorecard. I've got local rules and rules of golf in my golf bag. So I think I'm ready for the 13th hole. We both hit good drives with our irons, perfect position, about 205 yards to go. We played from the right tees. And Macarena, you're ready to go. You're going to lay up. You're going to use the 6-iron?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Play away, please.
Okay, thanks.
Good shot. Got a good bounce. Should be just fine.
Yes, a little bit short.
Good shot.
Thanks.
Well, even though I've hit it down the middle of the fairway, perhaps I could be a little further right. I can just see the pin, and that complicates things even more. I don't have a bunker to aim at. I know there's a bunker to the right of the green. I'd like to be able to see that. It's a very, very awkward shot. And now I've hit it in perfect shape, I'm going to go for it. I was going to lay up, but I'm going to try and hit a 5-iron, land it maybe 20 yards short, hope it bounces up. I like it so far. Come left. Looks good. Can't see it from here, but I like it. But it's not birdie country. It's not very often we talk to a player about one specific hole, but you were the second player in the field to birdie the 13th, and we'd like to know how you did it.
Well, it was you just play for a 5. It's a par 5 basically, but I hit 4-iron off the tee, and there's a tree that's about 5 yards into the fairway, and it just hit the bottom of that and went right. So I was thinking, I've got no chance here. I got up to the ball. I can't hook it round, I can't fade it round, I can't go over the top. And if I chip it out sideways, I've still got like a 5-iron or 4-iron in. So I just hit 3-iron. I had 213 yards, and I hit a 3-iron through a 2-yard gap, pitched on the green, ran down to about 10 feet and holed it. So, you know, it was one of those career shots that come off. It doesn't come off, I'm taking 6, 7. In the end, I made 3. Macarena, you've hit 2 good shots, a nice tee shot, a good layup. Tell me how you're going to play this short approach shot.
Well, I go to play the pitching wedge, a normal pitch, a short one, and the first pitch will be before the green. Well, I don't know, I'll try.
I think that's the plan. Land it just short, let it bump up to the hole,
Yes.
and the pin on the front of the green today.
Yes.
Okay.
I try to do it. Okay?
Good luck again.
Thanks.
It was a tricky one, not so bad. It was a tricky one.
Yes, I try to do it.
Anyway, we've
Well.
stayed out of trouble so far, though.
It's okay.
Well, I was lucky the bunker was here. If the bunker hadn't been there, my ball would have bounced down into the bushes. Now I'm a little below the level of the green, coming up to the pin, and I know there's 15 feet of green, and if I go the other side, if I thin this bunker shot, I'm down in the hazard the other side. So, got to be a bit careful on this one. But I do have a good lie. Safe enough. Nearly. Little heavy. Little heavy. Looks bad the other side. Terrible on the other side. Well, I didn't go over in the bushes, but many of these players did. A couple of 9s, lots of 8s, including Mark Litton. 81 the first round with this 8. He was the first player to birdie it in the second round. And a few 7s, including Paolo Carici, who is just 2 shots off the lead starting the last round. Two of the recent winners on the Volvo Tour playing together. Jarmo Sandelin jammed this in the first round for a par and was delighted. He made 8 the second round. Well, so far so good, Macarena. Your chip shot just pulled up a little quickly on the fringe.
Yes.
But you've got a putt for a 4. You've avoided all the trouble around the greens. I managed to catch the right-hand bunker, not a bad bunker shot. So I've got a chance for a 4. So I think we're doing just fine.
Yes, it was okay. I think it was perfect.
Perfect. Well, let's see if you can roll this one in for a 4. That would be great.
Okay, I try.
Looks good, looks good. Good try. Go ahead and tap it in for your 5.
I finished?
Well done,
Okay.
yes.
I finish now or I wait?
Yes, go ahead, tap it in. Well done, good 5. Lots of people would have been very happy with that.
Me too.
Good putt. Okay. In Anders Forsbrand's third round of 64, he faced this putt for a par at the 13th. He was 7 under for the round, 29 on the front 9. Couldn't quite make this his only bogey in the round. Well, I'm delighted to have about a 6-footer for a 4. Little left to right. Hit it. Needed to hit it harder. So we halved the hole. Congratulations.
Okay, you play 5. It's a good score, thank you. And one, Spain will give 2.
That's right. Thank you very much, Marlena.
Thank you.
It wasn't so difficult for us.
No, with 2 balls, it's okay. The problem will be with 1.
Certainly unlucky for some, but not for Peter Oosterhuis or for the local pro there, both getting 5s. Very nearly a 4, Peter. Where was all the trouble? But maybe in competition it would have been much tougher, much tighter. Anyway, the leaders will be coming to the 13th, and it's been a crucial hole all week, and we'll see them coming to the 13th within the next 20 minutes, half an hour. Well, just let me remind you that through 10 holes, Alexander Cejka is the leader on 7 under by 2 from Forsbrand. Who was the cameraman?
They had 3 cameramen. They had John, Badger, and Graham up on the tower. John Wednesday and Badger. That's what we were juggling around, and then somebody else would be in the wrong spot, have to move them, and then the whole grounds crew came through. There was a giant tractor on the fairway. 4 tractors came up the hill from the 12th green, just as we're on the tee. Okay, she managed to convince them to go do another hole and come back. So it was an adventure.
It's the final round of the Turespaña Open Andalucia, and we have the German golfer Alexander Cejka, who has never won on the Volvo Tour, leading with 8 holes to play. He's on 7 under par. He's 2 shots clear of Anders Forsbrand, who, after having dropped a shot at the first birdie 2 holes before the turn. Constantino Rocca today is coming back. 65 on day 2, 78 yesterday. No drop shots today, and he's 4 under. Corici and Riley on 3 under par, and Barry Lane now in that group with McGinley and Mark Farry on 1 under par. So some of the better known names coming up that leaderboard, and here's Rocca, who is having as good a day today as he had a bad one yesterday.
A remarkable tournament for Costantino so far. What a super shot, laid up quite a way back there. Could give a good crisp pitch there, and going very well today. Philip Price, a wonderful layup also.
Not such a good approach putt, but it's going to run down towards the pin on that little ledge and ends up very well indeed.
I'm very surprised the pin isn't on the front part of the screen again today. Tucking it behind that ledge just makes it even more difficult.
Well, there you can see why Rocca has moved up. He has had birdies at 4 and 6, an eagle at the 8th, and yet another 2. His second 2 of the round at the short 11th. 4 under par and just 3 shots behind Alexander Cejka. And what a difference a day makes. He didn't have a bogey on day 2, he didn't have a birdie on day 3, and he hasn't had a bogey on day 4. Paul Mayo is also in this group, and he has made his par. Paul Mayo currently at 4 over through 13 holes of this final round, as Philip Price goes for his 4 to stay at level par. Well, now that putt I thought might have gone to the right, having seen you putt, Peter, but it seemed to go straight on.
Well, this is at the back of the green. It certainly looks as if everything slips away towards the back. Downhill off that front plateau, and then more downhill. An unfortunate bogey for Price. 2 good shots just short. Not a bad approach putt. And Rocca, just an amazing tournament. 2 birdies, 2 bogeys the first round. 12 pars, 6 birdies the second round. 11 pars, 7 bogeys the third round. And now he had an eagle as well today, but no bogeys.
Well, you never know, he might still win this with the leaders still to go through 13. Rocca and company doing all right there. But this is Des Smith, and he has reached the 16th, and this is his second shot over the gully. Or is it his third? No, his third shot.
Will be his third shot, and the wind blowing from the most difficult direction, the direction that's given the players most trouble.
Is Barry Lane going for the green, or is he laying up, Peter, at 13?
He was very convincing earlier in the week, saying he would lay up no matter what, using a 3-iron or 4-iron off the tee, and then just an 8 or a 9 really to that position, and a delicate chip shot.
Is it fair to have that tree there?
I think we've discussed this tree amongst others. No, I don't think so. In fact, my second shot there yesterday went within inches of hitting it, and goodness knows where it might have finished. No, I think it should go for sure.
Well, Paul McGinley is among the other trees, just on the limit of the tree line, as it were. McGinley, who is playing today with Jonathan Lomas as well as Barry Lane. Jonathan Lomas, who is currently 1 over. Good swing.
And that was a good illustration of how to play a layup. You still have to swing aggressively, make your good solid swing. You can't get lazy on a shot, even though you might not be playing the ultimate aggressive shot to the pin.
Swing impeded, I wonder, by that tree at the back. Perhaps slightly, perhaps psychologically impeded. No.
Watch this. If it gets to the trees, it can keep on going. There's not much grass underneath these trees on the right. Bobbles around in the stones, and he needs a bit of luck.
We saw Dave Smith play his third to the 16th. Dave Smith, the first round leader, who is currently 2 over, and this is for a birdie. So Smith will remain 2 over through 16, 2 holes to go. He's currently in 14th position on the leaderboard. At 2 over, that means that he is considerably behind Alexander Cejka in the lead. So Cejka playing the short 11th at the present moment, currently 2 shots clear of the experienced Anders Forsbrand and 3 in front of Rocker.
His swing reminds me of something. I can't pick it up. Not Paul Laser. I don't know the same physique. How old? Take a long time here.
Welcome back to the final round. This is Peter Mitchell. And that's his second shot to the par 4 14th, the second most difficult hole this week. There have, you know, been only 2 birdies all week at that 13th, and only half a dozen birdies at this hole. I can't remember 2 holes that have proved more troublesome at a Volvo Tour event ever. But here at 13, you can see what happens if you miss the fairway. Paul McGinley there down among the rough stuff in the trees, and well,
we saw his ball just trickle past the camera stand there, and it kept on going another 30 or 35 yards. And a lot of the players suggesting there should be more bunkers in the greenside area here. That would stop the balls bounding on down into unplayable spots. Although today, here's Paul taking advantage of the special ball drop zones that the officials have put out this week. They've declared the area around the green to be a lateral water hazard, so if a player is what he determines to be in an unplayable spot, he can then go back to the ball drop and take a 1-shot penalty as if it's a water hazard. So that allows players a bit more latitude than the unplayable ball rule if the area was not marked as a hazard.
Still a bit of work left for Jonathan Lomas, whose early season schedule has been interrupted by injury.
Now Barry Lane still has to be careful with this one. Just from 40 or 50 yards, if the ball goes over the back of the green, it can keep on going down into the trouble. It's landing it on the front plateau. And downhill all the way, but not bad. A chance for a 4, which he certainly considers to be a birdie this week.
Paul McGinley there, who should have won a Turespaña event last year. He had it all won, but finally lost out in a playoff to Jose Maria Olazabal, and also lost a playoff to Constantino Roca at the French Open at French National. So he has come close to winning on tour, but hasn't as yet. Paul McGinley from Ireland.
It's his 4th shot in the hazard for 2, and that looks well played. Come on down. Another couple of feet, it comes down that little ledge. And a tricky putt there now, a delicate one.
Well, McGinley finishing second in the Turespaña Open Mediterranea last year to Olazabal. And Olazabal has completed his Turespaña Open Andalucia, and he has completed it with a round of 70, finishing on 4 over par. But really what he did this week regarding scoring was less important than the fact that he got round 4 rounds, and that the foot that he had surgery on, the right foot that had the toe surgery, has stood up to the rigours of a full competition, a full tournament. And 2 closing rounds of 70 for Olazabal, both of them under par, indicating that he'll take a break next week, but that he'll be fit when he comes to America to begin his build-up to the Masters at Augusta. when he will be defending his title and hopefully, in his case, hopefully going for another green jacket. Not too many people successfully defend at Augusta. Jack Nicklaus did, and so too did Nick Faldo. Well, Lomas now for his 4 at the 13th.
Coming back slightly uphill, slightly right to left. Looked as if it should turn, but it didn't. I think he was happy with the way he putted that one. Carl Mason's a long way from the hole. Carl, defending champion this event, a long way from the hole at the 15th. The dangerous par 4 with water next to the green.
He's just had a double bogey at 13 and a bogey at 14 to drop 3 more shots in his 8 over par.
And a long birdie putt for Peter Mitchell at the 14th. This hole has been tough enough for the players already this week without this tough pin placement. They have to work their drive right to left and then the pin back right. It's a long iron faded in there is the ideal shot, so a very demanding hole. And wind against on the tee shot and across on the second, so very difficult the 14th. One hole earlier, Paul McGinley, unfortunate not to have his 4th shot roll down closer to the pin.
Carl Mason has dropped another shot, by the way, so that's 4 shots gone in 3 holes for Mason. The news of the leaders is that Cejka and Forsbrand have both dropped shots at 11. Paul McGinley is putting for a 5 at 13 and getting it. He didn't hold back on that one. He coaxed that one in, down the slope, down the ledge. Whew. He's on par. He's just 6 behind. But Constantino Rocca now with Anders Forsbrand on 4 under, 2 shots behind Cejka, who has dropped a shot at 11. And he must be thinking of the holes that are to come.
Some of these players at 1 under par and even par, if they can make an extraordinary finish, perhaps 3 under rest of the way, if they can get in the clubhouse 3 under par, 4 under par, they still have a realistic chance to win. There are so many dangerous holes coming in, 13th especially. 14th's a tough hole, 15th's got water right next to the green, although it's a short par 4, and 17th's a tough plateau green. So Barry needs this one for a par. Played the hole just as he would have liked. Never in danger of being in the bushes.
And Lomas will have a putt for 5. So a couple of 5s and a 4 there. And that the first time, incidentally, that Barry Lane this week has managed to get a par. At that 13th, he had 5 on the other 3 rounds, as our IBM computer revealed to us just a moment ago.
But I think he's happy with that. 3 over par for 1 hole. You wouldn't usually be happy for that, but that's better than the average.
Well, as you can see, Alexander Cejka and Anders Forsbrand both dropping shots at the short 11th. Cejka back to 6 under and 2 shots clear of the charging Constantino Rocca. Forsbrand still in there at 4 under. Quarici hanging in well at 3 under. He's coming to the 13th. And 4 players on 1 under par. Barry Lane, John Robson, whom we saw pitching in for an eagle 3 at the 3rd, Mark Farry and Wayne Riley. We'll be back again in a moment. The flag of the Islandia Golf Club with the 3 ships there, indicating the 3 ships that Christopher Columbus had in his expedition, which left Huelva, nearby Huelva, in 1492 to find the Americas. So a bit of history remembered there on the flag of the local club. A club which has just been opened in 1992, 500 years after Christopher Columbus set sail. Well, Paulo Corici here, the tall Swiss player, he's at the 13th. He's currently 3 under.
Similar spot to Paul McGinley, and from this angle, going long and right is the danger, which was exactly what McGinley did. He'll be just trying to leave it 40 or 50 yards short, hoping not to have any interference from that tree 20 yards short of the green. Dicing with death. It needs to hang on, and that is nasty down there. That could well have rolled down 10 or 15 yards down the hill. Needs a bit of luck to stay up on the edge, and he'll have a tricky third shot even if his ball didn't roll down the hill.
So now we're seeing the dangers that have made this the most controversial hole of the season. Mitchell getting par there at the 14th. Robson at the 13th.
And these players way down the left side. And that one is quite a way back. That's a full sand wedge. I think the hole would be wonderful if this was where second shots were designed to finish and give players a neat little sand wedge shot in there. Mark Varry's hit quite a long way down the right-hand side. If he'd been in the middle of the fairway, he would have gone down into a dip and been totally blind, not being able to see anything of the pin.
2 early birdies for Farry in the first 4 holes, but he's dropped a shot at 6 and at 11. And well, that one's somewhere up there.
From where he was, it might have been tempting to go for the green. He was perhaps 30 yards further on than what is thought to be the ideal layup position, so maybe 160 yards to the front of the green. We haven't seen the ball, and he just hopes it's playable anywhere.
Is that Greg Norman at the back? No, not really. Costantino Rocca with a Greg Norman lookalike behind him. Greg Norman in Doral, of course, and playing well there, 15 under at the halfway, beg your pardon, at the 54-hole stage, and jointly leading the field with Peter Jacobsen.
Safely on the green for Rocca at 14. Par is a good score here, and especially when you're trying to maintain as good a round as Rocca has going. Philip Price hit a lofted wood on this green the other day over the trees. Lost control of that. And a very difficult chip coming downhill, not much green to work with.
Now I wonder where the
David Garland, the tournament director, started over the fairway, looking as if Corici needed help with his play of the next shot, but Corici waved him off, and it looks as if he was perhaps fortunate. Just rolled down a couple of yards, looking up ahead to the pin, so it appears he has a clear shot, but I wonder what kind of lie it is.
It's been designated a hazard round the green, but clearly not at this point.
No, I don't think so, Renton. There we have illustration of the 13th, just where the fairway narrows about 2/3 of the way down the hole. That's where Corici's second shot didn't stay on the fairway, toppled off the left side, and he's going to be fortunate to get a good enough lie to control this one into the green.
5.02 is the average of this hole.
That one's come out low. Let's see. Oh, a little unlucky. He got some spin even coming out of the junk down there. But after his second shot disappeared off the fairway, he should be happy with that, laying 3 just on the fringe of 13.
At the 14th, Jonathan Lomas with his tee shot. Oh, catching the trees and running into trouble on the bank there. Trying to cut the corner.
Trying to hit it right to left. Overdid it, and he'll be pitching out.
Meanwhile, Robson, third to the 14th. Beg your pardon, 13th.
And safely on. Headed for a 5 if he can 2-putt. And it's remarkable that the players happy with 5s at this par 4 hole. Barry Lane's turned that a lot. This at 14. Has he overdone it? No, he's hit it perfectly. Keeps on rolling. He should have a wide open shot to the pin placement back right.
Barry Lane moving up the field. David Garland wandering away there, having had a word with Mark Farry, who has an awkward third shot coming up here at 13. Korichi 3 under. The other 2 players in this group are 1 under par. McGinley at 40. E2 trying to turn it around the corner. But he, like Lomas, overdoing it, although in this instance the ball bouncing very, very rapidly back down towards the middle of the fairway.
Very fortunate there. Jonathan Lomas perhaps unlucky to get such a bad bounce.
Look at the awkward lie here that Farry has at 13.
Well, when his second shot headed down the right side, he would have been praying for it to finish here. If it misses the bunker, it's very dangerous. And that was a delicate one. Not a bad play. And a chance putting uphill for his par.
At the 14th, we've seen 3 tee shots, but Philip Price, remember, hit his second into the trees. He's had a penalty drop and he's about to play his 4th from a somewhat bearish line. He's coming over a bunker to the pin.
I think he might be past the right-hand bunker, Renton, and sounds as if this would be an unplayable lie. He's declared it unplayable, taken a penalty drop 2 club lengths to the side. And struggling for a bogey 5 at the 14th.
Yes, he was past the bunker, Peter, but well, that's 4. I think he's looking at a double bogey.
And holding up Costantino Rocca. Rocca having to wait a little while before playing his 3rd shot, which is a long putt.
Back on 13, Paolo Corici. Now it slips down the ledge, gathers speed, and well, runs on past. He's got that for 5, but he's going to drop a shot. At least 1. Alexander Cejka has parred the 12th, so he has remained at 6 under. Rocca is on 4, Corici and Forsbrand on 3 under now. Forsbrand dropping a shot at the 12th. We'll be back.
really a Turespaña flag, or is it just...
Welcome back. The flag of the Spanish tourist board there, fluttering in the breeze. This week, like so many of the early season events in Europe, we are in Spain. The Turespaña Open Andalucia. Mark Farey is on the dreaded 13th. He's putting for a 4.
And dicing with death on the 13th. In amongst the trees to the right of the fairway, off the tee. Almost missed the right side of the ledge that supports the 13th green. He was able to hit a good chip across the corner of the bunker. It just ran on by, and that's a 5, but a couple of loose shots that could have cost him dearly.
Back to even par with Carlson and McGinley.
Paolo Carici putting for a 5. Also hitting a couple of loose shots to the left off the tee. And then what should have been a routine punch down the fairway, turned it over too much. Toppled off the fairway into the rough ground and couldn't reach the green from there. So for a 5. He said he was putting well after yesterday's round, and that was a very timely one. He can try and forget some of those loose shots and get ready for the 14th.
Lying 4th at 2 under par. Ahead on the 14th. It's a birdie attempt by Constantino Rocca.
Come on.
Oh, what a good effort. What a good effort by Rocca coming down the hill there. And he will surely get his par and remain at 4 under. And if he could get a birdie at 15 or 16 or both, he could just add to the pressure that Alexander Cejka, the leader in this event, might experience over the last few holes.
Barry Lane's second to 14, smack in the middle of the green. A very difficult pin placement to attack today. Tucked back right. The player can see some of the green, but not enough to make him feel comfortable coming into this hole uphill. And he'll take that on the green in 2 is a good play at 14.
John Robson at 13. This for 4.
Hit it.
Go in, just on the edge. So he will drop a shot. He takes 5, and the 13th claims another victim as back up the fairway, the leader, Alexander Cejka, 24 years old, from Munich. Good tee shot.
And an aggressive swing there, but he was playing the hole the conservative way. Leaves himself a nice little sandwich shot back to the pin. I think this hole would be great in a match play situation, Renton. Reminds me of the 10th at the Belfry, a kind of all or nothing shot. And in a match play situation, force your opponent to do something if you hit it on the green ahead of him. But in medal play, the threat of a 7, 6 or a 7 ruining the score, really dictating to the players they cannot afford to give up those 2 or 3 shots in one fell swoop. Prepared to take a bogey with a chance of a par 4, but not prepared to mess around with the hazard.
Bit of indecision there by Wayne Riley. A change of clubs. I wonder if he's gone to the right one, or would he have been better sticking with the one he had originally? We'll know in a moment. Oh, he's not going to change again, is he?
Either way, so long as he's convinced that the club in his hands now is the right one, that's the key. And then he has more chance of making a good swing. He's 5 behind. Whether he feels that going for the green is worth the risk at that stage of affairs, I don't think so. and well positioned. And that tree really is in the way. But we haven't seen anybody be unlucky hitting it so far this week. And only one more player to go. Looks like a very lofty club. Forsbrand. Really, this lack of sight of the green is such a big factor here. If the players could see the bunker on the right side and some portion of the putting green, I think they'd be going for it. Certainly from the ideal spot where Forsbrand was, that needs to stop.
Well, it ran on and on and on, and we'll just need to see where it is in just a moment. Mark Farry at the 14th. Been happy with his driving. It will run on down the fairway, but I don't think he'll be in trouble with the trees that are on the fairway here as well. John Robson next to go.
John was to the left here yesterday, had to pitch out. This one looks very good.
Up ahead, Barry Lane has a putt to join Karichi at 2 under. Oh, hit the hole, but was going too fast. A bold attacking putt there from Barry Lane, who has played only 2 events earlier this season because of bereavement in the family. His father died. But he certainly gave that one a good rap down the hill, and well, you saw it was bang on line, but the speed prevented it dropping into the cup. So many lovely holes here with the trees. This 14th looks lovely, doesn't it?
It is a beautiful hole. I don't think the players have a chance to appreciate the beauty. It's a difficult drive with those 3 trees just over Jonathan Lomas's back. They're in the middle of the fairway. If the players hit 270, 275 from the tee, they're right next to those trees and need some luck to avoid them. And it's a nice green setting up amongst the trees, but unfortunately just a little bit uphill, which takes away some of the view of the green.
Not to be.
Third shot for our tournament leader. I hope that wasn't thinned. No, it wasn't. It was beautifully played. And that's very, very solid under the circumstances.
And Cejka playing well. Meanwhile, at 15, Costantino Rocca with his second shot over the water, hoping to get close, hoping to get another birdie. And certainly giving himself every chance. It's strange how yesterday nothing went right for him at all. And today, as on the second day, well, he's playing really well. It's a crazy game. Paul McGinley at the 14th for a birdie.
And he's hit 2 super shots to here. Just 15 feet of green behind the hole today. Pin back right. Come on round.
1 under par now, Paul McGinley. He joins the elite group under par here on this final day of the Turespaña Open Andalucia. Let's just check that leaderboard with McGinley on 1 under par, 5 shots off the lead. Cejka at 6 under, Rocca 4 under, Forsbrand 3 under, Karichi 2 under, and McGinley, Lane and Riley 1 under par. We'll be back again in Spain in a moment.
Under 70.
The second shot of par, Carici on this final day of the Turespaña Open Andalucia. Bunker for him at the 14th, having just dropped a shot at 13. Let's go back to 13, where Wayne Riley is playing his third.
Perhaps unlucky, his second shot didn't run on a little bit more. That should be very close. Settle down now. Well played shot.
At the 14th, Farry had a very, very good tee shot.
This is a shot of almost 200 yards, and if it's to the right, he doesn't have any room to the right of the pin, and he's going to be lucky to be able to get this one on the green for 3.
Oh, Mark Farry just playing a very destructive shot. Anders Forsbrand for par at the 13th.
So his ball didn't run round the corner down the hill into severe trouble, able to recover to here.
Break. Over. Fine.
Drop shot for Forsbrand, and he has just dropped shots at 11, at 12 and 13. So his chance of winning the £50,000 first prize in the Turespaña Open Andalucia has taken a bit of a knock.
Yes, his chances are going to depend a great deal on whether Alexander Cejka can hold things together over these last few holes. Cejka, that is, has avoided disaster here at 13, but there's still a couple of tricky ones to go.
So Cejka at 6 under par. He has played very solidly all week. Peter Oosterhuis was telling you that he has not used his driver as many as some of the other players. Sensible course management on a tight course like this, and he has hardly put a foot wrong. I think only the 17th on the first day proving troublesome for him. And that's for par, and that's a good putt.
That's a big putt for a leader on this course, on this hole. That's a big putt.
As long as he doesn't now start thinking about his winner's speech, he could be okay. 6 under, 2 clear of Roca, who's got a birdie putt coming up at 15. And here it is.
Quite an inviting pin placement today, back right, not as close to the water as yesterday's spot, which was a horrible one over the water and close to the drop away back left. And that wasn't one of his best. His putting strokes look good so far this week. That was just a little jerky, always to the left.
Now we may have seen 2 vital putts in the last minute and a half. Cejka holding a putt for par at 13, and Roca, his nearest rival, missing a very birdieable chance at 15.
Absolutely, Renton. And people who say it always comes down to putting on the last day, it seems that way, but over a 72-hole tournament, there's lots of other shots to be played. It's not just putting.
Oh, Well done for Wayne Riley there. Wayne Riley getting his par and remaining at 1 under. And there is what they're playing for, the premios, the prize money, £50,000 sterling, which is £17,000 more than second prize, 18,780 for third place. At £50,000, you get $1.61 to the pound at the present moment, so around about $80,000, maybe just a little more. And well, he was looking as if he would get a reasonable check, Mark Farry, but when you have one destructive shot at Islantia, it really is a costly mistake.
And this was a very wild one, Renton. Mark Farry, you referred to his 140th position in the money list last year, lost his exempt status and determined to play anywhere he can. He actually was a late call-up for the tournament in Manila. There was a withdrawal. The officials then go down the list of eligible players. Many players turned down the opportunity. Mark Farry decided to fly from Paris to Manila. He got there at 11:30 on the Wednesday night before the tournament. Didn't do so well once he got there, but that shows some determination. He was prepared to travel that far at late notice. And this is a remarkable shot. I think he was lucky to be able to have a shot at the green after that wild second. And for a player in his position, making some money earlier in the year, very important. Give him a chance to regain his exempt status.
Can I just remind you that next week on the Golf Channel, we bring you exclusive live coverage of the LPGA Ping Welsh's Championship from Tucson, Arizona. Coverage of all 4 rounds beginning on Thursday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Puerto Carici coming out of the bunker there in 3 at 14. You can stay tuned for scorecard report after each round at Arizona for highlights and analysis. The Ping Welsh's Championship next week on the Golf Channel. And next week the European Tour, the Volvo Tour, will be in Morocco for the Moroccan Open. That's Cejka at 14.
We were surprised to see him hit an iron here yesterday. Most players using woods off the tee, although some of them not using a driver. But he used an iron here and at the 16th. It surprised us. But talking to him after the round, he's just determined that hitting the fairways is the most important thing and fires away, usually with his 1 iron. Wayne Riley with the driver, and that looked as if it was a very quick snap hook. A lot of independent hand and arm action there. Somebody spotted it. He'll pitch out. Be playing for a 5. Be a brilliant 4 if he can make it from there.
Well, Forsbrand, after dropping 3 shots in 3 holes, needs something to happen for him, and happen quickly.
Well, he might have chosen the wrong hole to force things, Renton. Averaging almost 4 3/4 shots per player for the whole round, and he's hooked it as well. Excuse me, Renton, another hook. A lot of players. He may be playing a provisional. That certainly was way in the trees.
McKinley. Second shot at 15. Good effort. But more drama back on 14 because I think 2 of the players are going to be... Oh, this is a provisional. Bola provisional.
I don't think this was absolutely necessary for Riley. He wasn't that far in the trees, and I think somebody had already spotted the ball.
And back on the tee, Peter, you can see Anders Forsbrand also going to hit.
Certainly expected him to give it another shot because his ball was clattering around much deeper in the trees.
What a par this would be if Farry held this at 14. Lucky to find his ball in the trees. Nearly. It's another drop shot though for Farry. He's now 1 over. Barry Lane at 15, his second shot. Well, neither of these last two players playing as good approach shots as Constantino Rocca, and it's another bola provisional for Forsbrand, this time off 14. And there'll be a little bit of a delay here. Oh, well, he's managed to get that on the fairway, but has it scampered on down beyond the trees. That's a long tee shot.
That's a monster tee shot. 275 to that last tree of the three. So a bit of anger in that one. That's what he was trying to do the first time. 290, and even give himself a chance for a birdie. And Cejka striding away saying, hey, I hit the 1 out. I didn't have to worry about hitting the fairway with the driver.
He might have to worry about hanging around while the other two even look for their ball. Respective balls in the trees. He wants to get on with it. He doesn't want to be hanging around. Karichi for his par. Remember, he was in the bunker just ahead at the 14th green. Well, this time the putter lets him down. Well, that's the situation there. Can Cejka hold on and score his first Volvo Tour success? We'll know within the next hour.
Czechoslovakia through Yugoslavia, Italy and Switzerland.
This week we're in southern Spain for the Volvo Tour. We're at Huelva on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. Sunshine for the final round of the Turespaña Open Andalucia. Andalucia, incidentally, as big a province of Spain as the country of Portugal or the country of Denmark. Barry Lane is putting for a 3 at 15 to go to 2 under and into a share of third place. Came close at the last hole, if you remember, but just hit the putt too hard. Oh, he's got it. Well, that's a good birdie, because there's another birdie chance coming up for Barry Lane at 16. Barry Lane not out of this, but I have to say that Cejka, the leader, has got to make a mistake or two.
He does, but there's plenty of room for him to do that. This is a long, long second shot at 14. After an iron off the tee, this has to be at least a 2-iron. Whether he's using enough club to get back to the pin, perhaps not.
Well, both Forsbrand and Riley have remained inbounds. Riley rather better placed than the man you can see at the top of your screen there, the man in the white cap and the dark glasses. And that's Anders Forsbrand, and goodness knows what kind of shot he's got in there, because he's got to come through these trees, Peter.
It looks to be an awfully difficult spot. A little explanation of the unplayable ball rule and provisional ball. He hit a provisional off the tee, and a provisional is for a lost or out of bounds ball. Once he finds his first, he cannot then say, I'll forget this one, I'll play my provisional. He has to go back to the tee and start again. So electing to play, and this looks very risky. very risky. If he gets a bad bounce off a tree, he then may be unplayable, and then he'll be in extraordinary trouble.
Well, this is the man who yesterday had 29 on the front nine. He could end up with about 43 on the back nine today. He's having so much trouble. He's just gone bogey, bogey, bogey. As Wayne Riley, with his second shot, his ball came out of the trees, the first ball he hit, so he can go for the green, digging into it there, getting it out the rough, bringing it round and hoping to get it to the green, hoping to avoid the bunker, which is on the front right. And indeed, not even going for the green from where he was, digging it out and unable.
Just trying to give himself a third shot at the pin, Renton. He was a long way back, and I think his choice of playing a provisional ball was just for practice more than anything else, stretching the rules perhaps a little bit. But Forsbrand, he doesn't want to go back to the tee and hit 3 off the tee, and here's what they were trying to do, is turn their ball around the corner. 3 trees in the fairway just beyond that arc crossing the fairway, just past the bunkers, and Forsbrand's provisional ball, which is now out of play, was way past the trees, and the longest drive we've seen all week, but unfortunately he can't use it.
Because he found the first one. Philip Price at the 16th. The wind, you can see just how that wind has got up. It was calm most of the morning. The early starters did fine in the weather conditions. It was the easiest of the week. But now, as the afternoon wears on, that wind blowing again quite strongly. Not quite so cold as it was on Thursday, but nevertheless, just adding to the difficulties that the players have faced this week on this new golf course. And just look at that one. Well, that could be, there's a ditch down there, I think.
I don't see any paint lines or stakes designating a hazard. He'll wish it was a hazard. He could get a drop. He might have to play it from there. And Forsbrand still debating whether he should even attempt this second shot. He may be deciding.
Is he deciding that the ball is unplayable, therefore he's going back on the line?
Well, as far as he was into the trees, I find it hard to believe that he can keep the ball position between him and the hole, which is what he has to do. That's one of his options under the unplayable ball rule. He can drop it within 2 club lengths of the ball position, or go straight back as far as he likes, or he can go back to the tee. I'm surprised he's not going back to the tee.
Upsetting for Cejka, perhaps, as much as for Forsbrand.
Good point, Renton. Cejka, you saw him straight here. He's even helping Forsbrand with his ruling.
Let's move forward for a moment to a calmer fairway, the 15th, where the tall Swiss golfer Valo Carici is about to play his approach over the water.
Very elegant swing, lovely shoulder turn. Safely on the green, a long, long way from the cup though, from perfect position. He was looking to hit it closer than that, probably just a 9-iron.
Well, all of a delay there at 14 as Forsbrand works out what he's going to do. Cejka wandering back there, you saw, with, well, not hardly a smile on his face, but certainly not looking too harassed or concerned, as Roca ahead at 16. Well, just a pity that that didn't get up on the same level that the pin is cut today, but he is putting, and Roca has the chance at least of a birdie at 16. Now, what is happening here, Peter? Third shot, Anders Forsbrand. Has he taken an unplayable lie? And if he has, he should be back on the other side of the trees, shouldn't he?
Perhaps it's difficult to tell from this camera angle just where he was with his drive, but if he's taking an unplayable and going straight back, he keeps the ball position between him and the hole, and trying to create a bit of an angle, get it around the corner, and he's going to be lucky if he hits this shot up where his provisional ball finished. again, I'm surprised he's not going back to the tee. He would have saved about 10 minutes. But he's, after consultation with Alexander Cejka, they determined this is the spot.
Farry with his second to 15, meanwhile, will leave the drama at 14 for a moment.
The wind from the left, but water on the left, so players reluctant to fire it down the left side and let it drift back in. Mark Farries needs some luck again, missing the green long and right. That bounced down into some bushes again.
Well, he has obviously gone back before the ball crashed into the trees.
If he didn't take any swings up in the bushes where we first saw him, this is his unplayable drop, keeping the ball position between him and the hole. He now chops it out to the driving area, and he hasn't even reached where his provisional ball finished. So battling for a bogey, certainly most likely to make a double bogey, and a terrible run of holes for Forsbrand.
So Forsbrand crashing on this back nine on the final day of the Turespaña Open Andalucia, and after a bit of a delay, our leader Alexander Cejka, 24 years old from Munich, is ready to hit his second to this 14th green. He's currently 2 clear of the field. He's hooked that. He's hooked that. Oh, well done. Skipped through the bunker and he's on the green. He's putting down the hill for a possible 3, but he could get his 4 quite easily.
It's a long way away, Renton.
He's certainly a lot better off at this hole than Anders Forsbrand. Cejka 6 under, Rocker 4 under, running for a birdie at 16. Lane and Forsbrand on 2 under par, but Forsbrand is going to lose ground. We'll be back again for more golf, the Turespaña Open Andalucia, in a moment. Maybe there's a path. Maybe there was a path.
For what? For relief or something?
No, and maybe just a path up here. Maybe we saw all the trees, but there might have been a path.
But still, he decided not to play it.
Yeah, but maybe, well. Welcome back. Wayne Riley is playing his 3rd shot to the 14th, trying to get down in 2 to save his par. Well, he's given himself a chance, but once again, quite a long way from the pin, which is cut towards the back and certainly to the right on this 14th green today. Anders Forsbrand is playing 4. When he birdied 8 and 9, it looked good for Forsbrand. When he dropped a shot at 11, well, he was still in it. When he dropped another at 12 and then one at 13, things were taking a drastic turn, and he's certainly going to drop 1 shot here. So this could be 4 bogeys in a row, or it could be 3 bogeys and a double bogey. Rocker for a birdie. Oh, he was unlucky at 15. He's been unlucky again at 16.
I've got to admire the comeback after the disaster yesterday. He certainly has the game to come back from poor rounds, but you wondered after shooting a course record. This is
John Robson's making a bit of a mess of the 15th. That was his 4th shot at this 15th hole. It's a par 4 over the water, and certainly not dead for 5. And more trouble here.
Mark Farry was over there as well.
Bit of damp ground there, a bit squelchy there, I think, and they're trying to find out or decide whether in fact they might get relief because of casual water.
There's a big difference between squelchy and casual water, Renton. And Cejka trying to knock off these pars as he gets closer to home. Got away with a low hook second shot.
Well, that's going pretty fast. It does slow down near the pin, but it's a good shot, very good shot.
An excellent putt from that range. That was a long, long way, maybe 75 feet. The pin's 24 yards back on the right-hand side. He was short and left.
Fred Couples was a first-time winner on the Volvo Tour this year. So too was Santiago Luna. Robert Carlson was a first-time winner, as well as Jarmo Sandelin. We've had 5 first-time winners. Or let me make it 4, because Couples won twice. The only previous winner on tour this year was Ernie Els, winning that Lexington South African PGA Championship down in Johannesburg. Everyone else on tour this year has been a first-time winner. Cejka could add to that list.
Costantino Rocca summing up the wind on 17. So important on this hole. Just 18 yards from front to back. Pin's in that nasty spot back left. The back plateau, where just 15 feet past the pin, the ball will roll down a steep slope into some thick rough, and a very difficult recovery from there.
Rocca 5 under for his round today. He might have birdied the last 2 holes. He might have been 7 under.
Looks as if Farry did get a drop. He's shooting straight towards the water. Got to be careful. And a wayward second. Putting for a par from long range. Now 17.
I just feel that Rocca has to get another 1 under par. We were talking about the potential winning score this morning, and 4 under was being talked about. Of course, Cejka is currently 6 under, but if Rocca could get to 5 under, he's got to hit the green here at 17. Difficult target to hit. And he hasn't hit it.
And look at the wind howling from the right. Straight against at the previous hole, the 16th. From the right at this hole, and helping a bit up 18. But with that wind, you have to hit the right flight. If you block it at all back into the wind, it knocks distance off the ball. And now a tricky chip shot. And look how close that pin is to the back. It's straight downhill from the back edge.
You'd have to say, if Cejka is going to score his first Volvo Tour success, leading going into the back 9, you know, he's picked a tough back 9 to lead the field to victory on.
Absolutely, Renton. The most nerve-wracking 9 holes I've ever seen. Players have had a few days to adjust to it, but coming down the stretch trying to win a tournament, you wish there were a few at least easy holes or breather holes, but there aren't many coming in here.
No.
Forsbrand, that's surprising. The ball breaks towards the back of the green, most of the slope towards the front.
5 shots dropped in 4 holes for Anders Forsbrand. 4 over now today, and his chance of winning, I'm sure, has disappeared.
Paul McGinley at the 16th, having come across the ravine. Must have been in trouble off the tee that he wasn't further than this in 2 shots. Shooting straight into the wind. And tough to throw it back to this pin placement, although we saw Philip Price shooting over the green into a disastrous spot.
Cejka for par at 14. Oh no! Well, now that makes it even more interesting for the closing holes. He had played the hole well, he had hit the fairway off the tee. His second was hooked a little, but he'd made the green. He'd played a very good approach putt down the hill, but then he missed the short one. 5, and Cejka is on 5 under. He leads by just 1 from Costantino Rocco. There's the man he leads from, the Italian from Bergamo. He's just 1 behind the naturalized German from Munich. Cejka 5 under. Back for more golf in a moment. There's a fresh wind blowing over the plains here in sunny Spain today. Not so sunny in northern Europe, where there's rain and snow and bad weather. But here in Andalusia, it's sunny. Well, Barry Lane isn't so sunny here at 16. He was, well, he is 2 under par, but this is his 5th shot at the par 5 16th.
Guessing he was in trouble off the tee, perhaps tried to go across the ravine for 2, got stuck in there. And 4, well short of the green, and looking at a 7.
Well, no, if Rocca can get this pretty close, it's becoming very much a battle between Cejka and Rocca. And Cejka has these difficult holes to come, under pressure, trying to win for the first time. But Rocca could make it easier for him, easier for Cejka if he were to drop one here. So take your time, Costantino.
Of course, neither of those at the top realise Barry Lane is making a botch of 16.
Oh, down the little ledge it goes. It needed to be on the upper level to make the putt that little bit easier. He might drop a shot.
It's an awkward one to give it a bold move up the slope. Always worry about going too far by. And Paul McGinley, 1 under par through 15 holes, has a chance to overtake Barry Lane very comfortably here at the 16th, and the wind is gusting. This green is very exposed to the wind from the north. Paul McGinley started 1 over par for the tournament after a 69 yesterday. And nice to see him playing well. He's been a little unlucky in playoff situations, losing twice. Good solid player. And uphill and into the wind. And a good attempt. He'll take that. And this isn't the easiest par 5 in the world. With the wind against this week, it's been playing quite difficult. Well-designed hole. Testing the players off the tee. Tempting them on the second shot. Adding just a little bit more.
Just a reminder that Jose Maria Olazabal had another 70 today, so he finished the Open Andalucia with 2 70s. He'll have the next week off, and then he'll be heading to America to play through to the Masters at Augusta, where he is the defending champion. Problems with his foot because of right toe surgery. He was limping badly at the beginning of the week, But at the end, that foot not nearly so bad, and he has benefited from his competitive experience here this week, and this is his first appearance of the season.
Costantino with his par putt at 17. It's a testing hole, this one. Not often do the players have a shot with just 18 yards to work with from front to back, with the knowledge that if they're a yard out, short or long, the ball rolls away from the hole. It was a tough one to give it a run. That's a bogey for Rocker. It's a tough back nine here.
So Rocker back on 3 under par, and he is looking as if he feels that he has now lost the title, but he hasn't, not yet. 15, Forsbrand, somewhat shattered. Second shot over water. Downwind.
This the most dangerous of the shots coming in. If you're wild on this one, there's water if it's a very heavy shot, and trouble where we saw Mark Furry over to the right and long and straight past the pin is worse.
Well, Jose Maria Canizares of Spain finishing 5 over par with a closing round of 72, but look at that too at the 8th, a double eagle. Cejka, second shot, and once again playing safely and conservatively and on the green.
The 3 putts at the last hole from long range. He would have liked it closer than that. And Canizares hold a 4-wood from 234 yards for his double eagle Renton.
This for a 6. Nope. Came back a little bit. That's a double bogey for Barry Lane at 16. He moves back to par. There are now 3 players under par. Cejka on 5 under. Rocker on 3 under, and Paul McGinley on 1 under. Wayne Riley at 15. Body language bringing him. Oh well, he has skipped right through the green, and well, he'll be down where we saw Mark Farry in that squelchy ground, but it's possible to sink into the mud up to your ankles.
It's a very difficult spot. We saw how close Mark Farry came to chipping it across the green. And as Costantino Rocker gets ready to drive on 18, this is what faces him. Bunkers in the fairway, 240 to the one on the right, about 280 to the one on the left. The wind's behind, so some choices for the players. Do they hit a long iron? Do they go with a driver? Whatever your personal preference is.
Philip Price first to go.
Waiting for it to come left of that fairway bunker, and that's well positioned. About 120 to the front of the green from there. The pin's just 13 on the left side, above a little ridge. So perhaps a 9-iron downwind for Philip Price, his second shot.
Philip Price 3 over par. Well, McGinley is now in that category of potential winners. Perhaps he's 4 off the lead. But remember, Cejka has got the difficult 16th to play and isn't exactly dead for a 2-putt par at the 15th.
I think if McGinley wants to catch Rocker, he's going to have to birdie the last 2. Rocker will need to make a significant mistake not to par the 18th. This is a shot of 170 yards, crosswind. Critical to flight the ball properly through the wind. Critical to hit the shot you intend, whether it's a little fade holding it up against the wind or letting it ride right to left on the wind. A real test of shot execution. Looked as if he hit it solidly, but it's high, but a great shot. Very, very solid. And he'll have the same putt Rock had for a par, that for a birdie for McGinley. Rocker trying to recover from that bogey on 17. His first bogey today. Really a brilliant round after a bit of a shambles yesterday. As we look back from behind the green.
Just keep in mind that Rocker today is 4 under par for his round.
Best round so far today. Ollie Carlson from Sweden, who shot a 67 to get back to even par for the tournament. Rocker taking an aggressive move here. It needs to jump the bunker. He did it. And that might be all right. He gave that a good hit, carrying it probably 260 over the right-hand bunker. With the pin on the left, he's going to be okay. I thought the pin might be tucked back right today, but it's in a relatively generous spot.
Cejka for a birdie on 15. What a good putt. He's got that for par, and that's that awkward length that he missed on the last green. I think he'll hold this one.
That was an excellent lag, because a little bit of pressure on him, knowing he didn't want to leave. An awkward length, the second putt. That's a little closer than the last one. Kurichi on the fairway at 16, but behind the tree. And he made a big fade left to right, and well positioned for his approach shot.
Anders Forsbrand for a birdie at 15. Good for a weight anyway. And Riley. That Forsbrand putt off tape. Wayne Welling now live here for his par. Remember, he was through the green in 2. So he will certainly drop one shot.
And an awkward second shot here off the hanging lie in the fairway, wind from the left and water on the left. But that's Forsbrand's caddy still hustling, and the crowd really edging in there very close to the green.
Forsbrand for his par. Well, he stopped the rot, but he's par and he's 5 shots behind Alexander Cejka, who is putting as well for par.
He might have moved just a little bit on that par putt at 14. I think this one's a little shorter. Watch his head, stay still here. And well done. A very, very good leg putt there. The pressure was on. Sometimes those leg putts aren't so easy under pressure.
And Riley to finish off for his 1 over par 5. But that means that Riley is now 1 over, and he's down on 1 over, sharing 8th spot with John Robson. Well, things really building up to an exciting climax here. Cejka 5 under, still in the driving seat, 2 shots clear of Rocker, who's playing the last. Paul McGinley, the only other man under par. It's the final round of the Turespaña Open Andalucia here in southern Spain, and the German golfer Alexander Cejka is 5 under par and 2 shots clear of his nearest rival. His nearest rival is Constantina Roca, playing the last with the group that also includes Philip Price. It's Price playing here first up towards the green, uphill all the way.
A well-positioned tee shot. What was he saying? Get in. He liked the look of it straight at the pin, but 15 yards short of the pin.
Back on 17. I beg your pardon, 16. Forsbrand has hit the fairway there, by the way, at 16. But let's move forward to 18 with Roca. He was all right, Peter. He got past that bunker there on the right-hand side, and
he doesn't have far to go here. Barely over 100 yards. It was an aggressive play off the tee. Like the three-quarter wedge. And well played, well controlled off that side slope.
Well, the chance of a birdie at the last, which would get him to 4 under par, and 4 under par could win. So an important putt coming up for Constantina Roca.
Ricci had to slice his second shot around the tree in the middle of the fairway. This is his third. Into the wind. Ooh, and he was waiting for the wind to hold that one up, and this is a tricky one coming back. Some lush grass, the wind behind.
38-year-old Constantina Roca. 2 victories, both of them in France. He won the French Open at Golf National just outside Paris, and he also won the Open de Lyon. And just over £1 million in earnings, 1.18 million pounds in earnings, and just psyching himself up for a birdie. Now Barry Lane is putting there on the edge of the 17th, but Peter, you know, he got there in a most unusual way. He's going to drop a shot, but he was lucky that the ball stayed above ground there.
He was well over the green, probably hit a beautiful looking shot, landed just over the green and shot on, perhaps 25 yards over the green, and an impossible recovery coming back. Paul McGinley, meanwhile, had a wonderful tee shot. That was for a birdie, and tap in for par.
Still, he'll remain at 1 under through 17, and the chance of a birdie to move to 2 under at the last. Paul McGinley, who missed the halfway cut last week in Valencia, but stayed on just to hit shots. He's a terrific practicer and just loves playing golf. Second shot, 16, Wayne Riley.
Not being tempted to cut the corner, fires it up the left. And about 120 from there. Some markers in the fairways.
Good tee shot again from Cejka. That's going a bit right, but the applause would indicate that that's fine and no problems at all. 2 good shots there by a man under pressure.
Very well played. Guessing that he used his one iron off the tee again, firing it into the wind and rolling it down the fairway. And Philip Price, after a well played tee shot, just misjudged his second. Keep on coming. Give him that one for his par. A little under the weather, a bit of flu yesterday. We saw him sniffling a bit, struggling in yesterday's round. Mark Farry, his exempt status, he needs every pound he can win, and struggling coming in.
Currently in the top 10 of this week's event, which would get him into next week's Moroccan tournament, but he's clinging to a top 10 spot.
He's probably very conscious of that method of getting into the following week's event. Top 10, if you're not already exempt, gets you into the following order of merit event. And Roca, the 18th hole, playing very short today for somebody who hits a driver off the tee. Just a wedge to here. Should break a little right to left.
He's putting for a 66, which would be the best round of the day. Ollie Carlson has had the best round so far. 67, Peter, I think you said it was. And of course, he's no relation at all to Robert Carlson, the winner last week in Valencia. This could be the winning putt. Didn't turn from at all.
Everything slopes from back to front on this 18th green. Can't believe it didn't turn a little more than that. He's taking his time. Maybe there's an old ball mark or something. He just wants to check. The ball hasn't settled into an old hole.
71, 65, 78, and a closing round of 67 for 38-year-old Konstantina Rocca. He's in the clubhouse on 3 under par. He set the target that Alexander Cejka has to beat.
And he knows exactly what's going on. There's a huge leaderboard next to the 18th green. He knew if he could make that, he just one behind. Cejka having to maneuver through the last 3 holes. Costantino knew he had a good chance.
Delicately played shot by Paolo Carici at 16.
Very well played.
No chance of the players down the fairway reaching the green, so they can play their seconds. Forsbrand.
Started to the right, cut the corner. A very aggressive play.
Up on the green, John Robson getting par to stay at a 1 over par through 16 holes. And 1 over currently 7th. He's tied with Barry Lane. So there you are, Cejka 5 under. Can he hang on? Will he win the Turespaña Open Andalucia? Welcome back. Well, growing strawberries and tourism are the two main businesses here in this part of Spain, near Huelva, down there by the Atlantic Ocean. The province of Huelva in western Andalucia. To the east is Seville and Cadiz, and to the west is Portugal. You glance at some of the old buildings and you can trace this area's history to the Tartars, the Celts, the Romans, the Visigoths and the Muslims have all settled here at some time, and well, you just need to look at the architecture to realize that that's the case. In the late 15th century, it was one of Europe's most important areas. Indeed, it was from here in 1492 that Christopher Columbus sailed off to discover the Americas. Land ho, he said, and lo and behold, it was the Bahamas. And a replica of the Santa Maria is in the harbour there at Huelva. Islandia, a modern, well-planned tourist village, and there's a 4-star hotel as well down next to the beach. A long, sandy, superb beach, just down below the golf club, where we're playing our 7th Volvo Tour event of the season. And building up to an exciting climax, Paul McGinley is playing his 2nd to the 18th. Reminder that Rocker is in the clubhouse on 3 under.
And McGinley taking dead aim at the flag, but misjudging the distance considerably. Looked as if he might be questioning the caddy's yardage or advice on club selection. He gave that a good aggressive swing, was watching it intently, but you can see it slipped off the front of the green.
At the 16th, the last group on the golf course. Wayne Riley's 3rd.
Punching his 3rd shot in here. And well judged for distance. Many players having trouble controlling the distance. We've seen 3 or 4 players over the green. As we have a look at what they've negotiated to be hitting their pitch shots here over the canyon with their 2nd shots.
Well, so far a nerveless performance from Alexander Cejka. 1 short putt missed, but generally speaking, he's played well. And once again, the ball just holding on the green there. He's got that for a 4 and that for a birdie.
I think he's amazed it didn't have some spin on that 2nd or 3rd bounce. He hit it well.
Lomas at the 18th, 2nd shot. And he is up above the pin. McGinley below it. Well, that Cejka 3rd shot that we saw was off tape, and we can go back live to the 16th for Cejka to have his attempt at a birdie, which would give him a 3-shot lead with 2 holes to play. Well, it touched the hole on the way past.
A good aggressive approach shot, a good aggressive putt. And the last shots he hit on the practice ground this morning were those 3/4 wedges. And I think certainly unlucky that his approach didn't finish closer than it did. And his Forsbrand, disastrous back 9 after moving into position with birdies at 8 and 9, looked to be a real threat. The most experienced player in the lead groups with the most wins under his belt.
So par then for Forsbrand at 16, and he remains at even par. When he putts out, that is. I thought he might have just tapped that one in, but, well, you just want to take your time. It's he's just had an hour there where he could well have wished, could I go back to the 11th and start again? You don't get that opportunity, do you? You might be wondering why Barry Lane is throwing something out of the bunker there. You couldn't do that on the US Tour, but you can on the European Tour under a local rule. A local rule that caught out Nick Faldo when he played on the Australasian circuit down in Bali. He was leading by 6 shots with 6 to play when an official went out to tell him he had been disqualified for an infringement which had been brought to his notice from the previous day.
That's a tough shot, an uphill lie, going uphill on the green and understandably coming up short. Barry Lane on the 18th, Wayne Riley for a birdie at 16. Keep on coming, well done.
Level par now. And Wayne Riley, often called the cocky cobber. Cobber being an expression for Australian, just in case you don't know that. Cejka for par. Safely in again for Cejka. He's got 2 holes to play. He's 20 minutes away from his first Volvo Tour title success. He's 2 shots clear with 2 to play. He's got 1 dangerous hole to come and 1 much easier one.
It's dangerous at the 17th. Cejka made a triple bogey at 17 in the first round. I hope he's not remembering that at the moment. Here's Kurichi just over the back of the green at 17, and so difficult.
This is the group on 17 at the present moment, and this is John Robson. Pin high, but just off the green, and wanted to chase that one up closer to the hole.
But a much easier shot on the same level as the pin. If you're short or long, it's down both sides.
Forward to 18 with McGinley. I thought that was going to be in, but he's got an awkward one coming back for par to stay at 1 under. A drop shot here at 18 would be costly for Paul McGinley, because there are already 4 players on level par. He was solo third on 1 under.
Kurichi trying to bump it into the slope. We've seen players do this. This is going to be lucky to stay on the front of the green.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, it's not going to go down into the dip. Let's go move forward again to 18. And there, with the wind blowing strongly at the back of the players as they come up this last hole, Jonathan Lomas is putting for 3.
4 over for today's round. Look to have moved nicely into contention with a 69 yesterday. Choosing to use a high number. Players all have their preferences to what numbers ball they use. And then they have their own identification mark on there as well, pencil or pen mark. So they can identify their ball from an identical numbered ball of another player.
Lomas will have a putt for 75. Lane will finish hopefully with a par. Lane currently on 1 over, so this par putt for a par round of 71, reminding you that the par here is not as is normal. 72, 36 out, 35 home. Tough old 35 home.
Yes, the back 9 playing much more difficult than the front. Starting today's round, the back 9 averaged 3 shots over par for the field, and considerably more difficult than the front. Most of the easy holes on the course during the first 10 holes of the round, and 5 of the most difficult on this stretch coming in.
So Barry Lane, Turespaña Open Andalucia is over, and for him a round of 72. Look at the finish there, 7, 4, 5. 4 shots dropped in the last 3 holes for Barry Lane, and that's pretty costly, because 2 under par would have given him 3rd place on his own. Messy finish for Barry, but this Irishman, Paul McGinley, has a putt to stay at 1 under, and this for 3rd place on his own. So this is an important putt for him. Beautifully holed. A good finishing 4. The caddy will not get the rocket that he might have got back in 34 there, out in 35. A good 69, one of the few players under 70. Paul McGinley finishing on 1 under par. Just 2 players ahead of him. Rocker in the clubhouse on 3 under, and Cejka at 5 under. Join us again in a moment. welcome back. Standing on the tee at the 17th, the last group, including our leader, Alexander Cejka. They're waiting for Paolo Carici to finish this 17th. This is for 4. So he dropping a shot, and he moves to 1 over par with 1 to play. Carlson, Riley and Forsbrand are on level par, even par. Paul McGinley from Ireland is in the clubhouse on 1 under. Costatina Rocca of Italy in the clubhouse on 3 under par. But out on the golf course with 2 to play, we've got Alexander Cejka. He is not up first on the 17th. He's on 5 under, by the way. It's Wayne Riley who got the birdie at the last. Riley, who is even par.
And plenty of time to assess the wind as they waited for the group in front. We're battling a bit. 170 yards, plateau green, wind from the right. Well controlled swing, and on the green he should be very happy with that. Made a monster putt here yesterday for a birdie. That
Well,
might
he
be
might just creep up and join McGinley on 1 under. You never know. This is the important shot. 3s the last 2 rounds. 6 on day 1 when the wind was blowing from the same direction as I recall, Peter.
It certainly was, and a very similar pin placement. Beautiful setup. A relatively strong grip.
Got to cope too with the adrenaline.
He's hoping it's just going to fly a little bit more. Get up. And well done. That's a great shot. That was a dangerous one. Once you miss the screen, long or short, you can go back and forth. And I'm sure that's what he did the first round. An excellent shot.
Well, that could be the winning shot at the end of the day. We've talked about possible winning putts or losing putts, but when Cejka looks back on this, I think getting onto the green at 17 with the wind blowing as strongly as it is could be where he realized he was in a good position to win.
This is going to the left. It's out of bounds over there as well. Let's see whether Anders has to play a provisional. John Robson, that exaggerated spin of the left leg. Good solid hit, just skirting the fairway bunker, and now he's in good shape.
That's where Rocca was when he played this hole. Thinking back to last year at the French Open when Anders Forsbrand let things slip away and finally didn't make a return, but was heading for, as I recall, 100.
Well, it said he ran out of balls on the 18th and therefore couldn't complete his round.
Just reminding myself of that because of all these troubles on the back 9 here today. Carici just watching the bunker there. That's okay.
Let's remind ourselves of Anders Forsbrand, a 4th place and a 2nd place so far this year, and a 66 and a 64 the last 2 rounds at the Open Championship at Turnberry. So he's had some ups and downs over the last 12 months.
Mark Farhi, who has had an unhappy back 9 here.
This looked as if he took it up the left side, and he has done. Beautiful drive.
He has slipped back, Farhi. He's had 5 bogeys in the last 6 holes. That's Farhi, not this man, Cejka. Let's look at his swing, Peter.
I like this address position very much, except for perhaps the strong left-hand grip. A few more knuckles showing on the left-hand grip might lead to a hook at times, but certainly a deliberate backswing. He knows exactly where he wants to be at the top of the backswing, and that is there. The club pointing at the target. A beautiful shoulder turn, 90 degrees, drops it down on the inside. Very solid there, straight left arm, extending the arms through to the target, driving this one through the wind. Didn't want to finish too high, which would encourage the ball to kick up in the air. And a very well played shot with the tournament very much on the line on that shot.
As you can see, he's 27th in the order of merit, and he has made £123,000. Last year he was 102nd on the order of merit, and his best finish was 9th.
Forsbrand close to the fence. It is at the far end of the practice ground, which would be out of bounds. And that camera
Hang on, Anders. Hold on. Can you speak for a second like this?
is determined to be an immovable obstruction, and he may be getting a line of sight relief. Miguel Videor, the tournament official, helping Anders.
Well, we'll see what happens here at 17 with Anders Forsbrand. We'll just check that leaderboard again and take a break. Cejka heading for victory in the Turespaña Open Andalucia in this final round. Well, that ball is well down in the grass there because a youngster in the gallery inadvertently stood on it. Adding to the problems facing the player at this 17th.
Well, a tour official with this group, so he may be able to drop this in an effort to recreate the lie before the ball was stood upon. And then I think he's debating whether he wants to take relief for line of sight. The camera is determined to be not readily movable. Temporary immovable obstruction. John Robson right over the flag, and a good bit of spin there. Long drive, giving him just a wedge into the green. And a chance to recoup something.
Well, there's the order of merit on the Volvo Tour so far. Fred Couples still top, of course, following his 2 wins in Dubai and Manila. Nick Price up there, Colin Montgomery. Jarmo Sandelin, a first-time winner. Robert Carlson, a first-time winner this year, in 4th and 5th place, both of them Swedes. Michael Campbell has done well in early season events from New Zealand. He'll be playing the Volvo Tour this year. and also has done well down in Australia. Santiago Luna, a winner this year, and also on the top 10 list, Greg Norman and Robert Allenby. These two players making their money in the first two events of the season down in Dubai and in Manila at the Orchard Club. Well, David Garland has now come into the reckoning here. He is the tournament director. And you can see the camera up in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Well, it was just a moment or two ago. And David Garland, very experienced Scottish tournament director from Ely, not far from St Andrews, where they'll be playing the Open Championship this year.
You can use any club in your group division.
Let's try and listen here to what's being said.
What happens if I hit the thing out?
Nothing. Nothing. As you like to say.
Does he get the chance to replay it if he hits it?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
Putter longer than
I
a
think
driver.
that's a rule.
Wayne, is that longer than your driver?
This is very interesting. The rules so often refer to club lengths.
But
And
it means a club length from your own set, surely, doesn't it?
well, that's what I would have thought. It sounds as if Anders Forsbrand might be recruiting a club from Wayne Riley's bag, Wayne Riley's over-length putter.
Or isn't he using another club? Isn't that 15 clubs then?
We've got two officials standing right there, Renton, so if they're allowing him to do that,
Who are we to argue?
I would say so.
I would say that Forsbrand has used 15 clubs, but there you go. David Garland, the tournament director, is there too, and the Spanish tournament official as well. There's been plenty of action on this back nine.
Anders Forsbrand certainly getting in the way of Alexander Cejka's victory march.
Well, Mark Farry will finish off, I think. Paolo Carici for a birdie. At the 18th, the Farry there was off tape. Carici to finish in the group on par.
One time.
He thought it was in, the fans around the green thought it was in, but it just veered off at the end. So Carici will finish on 1 over par. If he holds that one, that is. Let's get back to the drama on 17.
And Renton, by some miracle, I referred to my decisions on the rules of golf, which is about 600 pages of mysterious rulings, and a player can use a club from another player's bag. And Forsbrand decided not to take line of sight relief. He liked the lie he had, and he played a pretty good recovery.
Well, thank you, Peter, for bringing us right up to date there. Cejka with his... Oh, no. Well, no. Hang on a minute. That was coming up the slope. He got the green all right with the tee shot, but then had to come up the slope, and, well, he could easily drop a shot here and require to get a par at the last to win. Never easy when you're going for your first championship title.
I think the gremlins had crept into Alexander's mind there on his putt, looking up the hill to that little back plateau. He probably felt, well, there's only about 8 or 10 feet behind this pin. I can putt it off the green if I'm not careful. And really eased up on it a great deal, and tough par putt. It's not over yet.
That's a handy book you have there, the decisions on the rules of golf, Peter, which I know you always carry, and which proved invaluable. I would have...
Well, usually it takes me 20 minutes to find the right page, but I was lucky this time.
Well, it's interesting to know it was something which I should have known, but frankly didn't. But now I do. Riley for a 2. He holed across the green here yesterday. Not today, though. everything has gone into, as it were, almost slow motion. As up on 18 Farry.
Yes, getting on. Excuse me, Renton, getting on
putt.
towards a 5-hour round with the rulings and messing around on the back nine, mainly from Anders Forsbrand. And a good stroke from Mark Farry.
But it's been a bad back nine for Farry. You can see back in 40 for 75, and he finishes at 3 over par. And well, at the turn he was 2 under, and 2 under would have been third. Forsbrand for his 3 at 17. A hole he started to play, it seems, ages ago.
Had to use 2 officials. Gave him all his options, including the use of Wayne Riley's putter for measurements. And he might make a par all the way.
Could you believe it? Would you believe it? Now a par putt for Cejka. If this one goes in, the 2-shot cushion makes the last hole an awful lot easier. If he misses, he's got a 1-shot lead and needs par to win. If there's a playoff, they'll be playing the 18th over and over and over again. I'm reminded that Peter Thompson once played a playoff in Hong Kong, which went on for 10 holes. At Fan Ling, I think they were running out of light near the end.
Hardly surprising.
This then for a par 3, and this to stay at 5 under and 2 shots clear of the field.
Looked as if there was an extra shuffle in there. We thought the tee shot was the tournament winning shot. Perhaps this one is. Great putt.
That was a terrific putt from Alexander Cejka. Looking now like a winner. Riley then for his par. Well done for Riley. He remains at par through 17 and sharing 4th place with Ollie Carlson in the clubhouse and Forsbrand. Ahead at the 18th, Robson for a birdie. This to tie Puelo Carici. Nope. So he is in the reasonably large group of players on 2 under. Des Smith, Fabrice Tarnot, Mark Mulland, Barry Lane. And once this goes in, John Robson.
Always nice to finish in the top 10. There's always something distinguishes, well, I was top 10 or I was 12th. Doesn't sound nearly as good. So well done, John Robson.
Carici. Finishing 7th on his own with a round of 74, 1 over par. 74 is 3 over today, 1 over is for the tournament. Previous winners of this Andalusian event: Vijay Singh, who won in Malaga; the Englishman who lives in Scotland, Andrew Oldcorn, who won at Nova Sancti Petri, the course designed by Severiano Ballesteros and mooted at one time as a possible Ryder Cup venue in 1997. It didn't win, Valderrama did. And last year at Monte Castillo, the Jack Nicklaus course, Carl Mason took the title. Well, let's have a look again, Peter, at the putt that, well, indicates that Cejka has got nerve and guts.
That was a good aggressive putt, really a horrible first one, and he knows that was very critical. There was trouble on 18 if he got a bit nervous. Fairway bunkers right and left.
He was saying this year that things are going to go right for him because last year he had to spell off the tour with sunstroke. We'll just watch Wayne Riley here. Everybody seems happy enough with it, including Wayne Riley. That's a long, long tee shot up to where we saw Rocker. Yes, Cejka last year had sunstroke at one stage. He was disqualified from the German Masters when he got caught up in a traffic jam caused by roadworks. So he's had his problems, and he said, this year things are going to go right for me. And that meant scoring a win. Once again, the iron. That could be in the bunker.
It certainly could. I was a little surprised he used an iron that gave him enough length to reach that fairway bunker. He'll have perhaps 110 to the front of the green from there, 125 to the hole. So there's still some work to be done. Those fairway bunker shots are never routine.
Forsbrand with the wood, no problems for him. Just 3 players left on the golf course. Cejka, Forsbrand and Wayne Riley. And let's just look through the leaderboard as it is at the present moment. Cejka, 2 shots clear, 1 hole to play as he chases a £50,000 first prize and a first success for him on the Volvo Tour. Rocker could kick himself, I'm sure, for the 78 yesterday, and he missed some birdie chances just at the end of the round today, but he's on 3 under and in second place. Paul McGinley, the only other player under par. Carlson, Ollie Carlson, not related to Robert Carlson, who won last week. Riley and Forsbrand, both on par, but Riley and Forsbrand could birdie the last and join McGinley. Corici is 7th on his own at 1 over. Smith and Tarno at 2 over. And some other players on 2 over as well, but Cejka is walking up the hill, hopefully, to a win. Well, it's been a happy 4 days for the ladies who've been working a huge scoreboard beside the 18th green. They had hoped that perhaps at the end of the week there would be a Spanish name right up at the top there, but Alexander Cejka, who was born in Czechoslovakia and who escaped from Czechoslovakia back in 1980 with his family. He escaped through Italy and Switzerland and Yugoslavia and finally got to Germany. And now he lives in Munich, and he's enjoying a puff as he comes up that last hole. He's probably deserved it. It was a pressure-packed day for him. He was tied for the lead with Forsbrand going into the final round. There was a 2-shot swing on the very first hole, and he has been ahead since. And on a golf course like this, Peter, real pressure to hang on and maintain the lead. He has proved he is a worthy winner if, as we expect, he does just that.
The way he was striding up there, perhaps he could see the ball from the tee. We couldn't see it from behind the green. He may not be in the sand, which makes a big difference. He certainly had his game plan clear before he started, using an iron off the tee, hit the fairways, and he's done that pretty well.
The driver has hardly come out of the bag.
But he is in the sand. Or maybe not.
As it is. He can only lose this now.
If it's lying cleanly, catches the ball cleanly with his 9-iron or 8-iron, Even if he thins it a bit, it should work out the right distance. And the fans like it, and how about that? A brilliant shot to finish with.
He knows now that he is a winner on the Volvo Tour. Another first-time winner in 1995. 24-year-old Alexander Cejka from Munich in Germany. Bernhard Langer has been the only German winner on tour over the years, but now Cejka joins him. We thought that perhaps Anders Forsbrand, the more experienced player who was tied for the lead with him with a round to go, might be the man who would take the title and continue the Swedish series of triumphs this season, but it wasn't to be. The back nine caught up with Anders Forsbrand, and he paid the penalty perhaps for that 29 on day 3 on the outward nine. Golf always has a way of hitting back. He's on the green in 2. And Wayne Riley with his second shot after a monster tee shot up the hill. Remember that Riley and Forsbrand have the opportunity to finish joint third if they can birdie the hole. Cejka can 3-putt and still win. Spinning it back towards the cup. And the best of the approach shots from Alexander Cejka. Born in Marienbad in what is now the Czech Republic. He twice won the Czech Open. He's twice won the Audi Open on the Challenge Tour. He couldn't go back to play at the Chemapol Czech Open last year because he got food poisoning. But let's just have a look on this final day of how Alexander Cejka made his winning breakthrough. He just missed the fairway at the first off the tee. He was playing over a little knoll and a bunker towards the pin. He got a nice bounce from there, and wasn't that an encouraging start for the 24-year-old? He took 3 there, and here at the third, another chance of a birdie. It thought about staying out, but it went in. And he had 2 birdies in the first 3 holes, and he had moved 3 shots clear of the field. This was the 13th. This was a putt for par, and that too went in. Running round the hole. Every time he came to a crisis, he had an answer. He missed a short putt on 14, the only time he really made a mistake. But when he came to the 17th, the short 17th, he had this putt for par. He left his tee shot on the lower level, putted up short, and then banged that one straight into the cup. And at that point, he knew he would have a 2-shot lead going up the last. He put his tee shot in the bunker, but then played another great shot under pressure from the bunker, pin high, leaving himself with the chance to 3-putt for victory from round about 7 or 8 feet. Forsbrand is putting for a birdie at the last. This to Ty McGinley on 1 under. It really wasn't going to happen for Anders Forsbrand. Things began to go wrong for him when he dropped a shot at 11, 12, 13 and 2 at 14. That's where he lost his chance of the title. Wayne Riley now has the chance to Ty McGinley. Well, this broomstick putter that has helped him already this year to a 3rd place finish in Dubai and a 9th place finish in Valencia, help him to a 3rd place finish again here at Islandia in beautiful Andalusia. Beautifully holed by Wayne Riley. He birdied 2 of the last 3 holes to get to 1 under. And Paul McGinley's check is going to be a little less than he thought it would be. So Forsbrand going to finish off here and leave the stage to the Volvo Tour's newest winner. Forsbrand for par, which will tie him with Ollie Carlson for 5th place. So a back 9 that he wants to forget. It's all over for Anders Forsbrand. And 75 out in 35, in with a chance there of winning, and then back in 45 over 75, and 1 man left on the golf course. He has 3 putts to win. Can he do it in 1? He started the round on 4 under. He's currently 5 under. This is for a round of 69. Never any danger at all for Alexander Cejka. That's how he feels. He knew he could win, and he went out this afternoon and he did it. Alexander Cejka, 24-year-old naturalized German living in Munich, has won the 1995 Turespaña Open Andalucia. He's won by 3 shots at 6 under par after a closing 69. Rounds of 71, 68, 70 and 69. And Constantina Rocca, the man who finished 2nd, among the first to congratulate Cejka. 4 rounds under par on a golf course. I'm correcting myself because his first round was 71, which was par, but then 3 rounds under par for Cejka on a golf course which many players just could not cope with. And plenty of people moving forward there to congratulate the young man who has achieved one of his goals for 1995 in just the 7th week of the year. Let's then just check the leaderboard at the close of this event. Cejka, the winner by 3 on 6 under. Rocca, foiled by that 3rd round 78, 2nd on 3 under, with McGinley and Riley on 1 under par. Riley birdieing 2 of the last 3 holes to do so. Carlson and Forsbrand on level par, and Paolo Cricci of Switzerland on 1 over. But 7 behind the winner, Alexander Cejka.
Is this one going to work there, PA? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The excited crowds are behind the 18th green following the success of the German golfer Alexander Cejka in the Turespaña Open Andalucia. And there he is, all the youngsters rushing around him there to get the autograph of the newest player to win on the Volvo Tour. And that's the man in second place, Constantina Rocca. Well, it might well have been Constantina, but you took 78 in the third round when you made no birdies. And Roddy Carr there, the man who runs the event for Amen Corner, which is the tournament organizing company in Spain, which is owned by Severiano Ballesteros. There's the leaderboard showing Cejka finishing on 6 under par. And a great performance by Cejka, who is now with my co-commentator down there on the 18th green, Peter Oosterhuis.
Thank you, Renton. On the 18th green, some happy people. Let me introduce Javier Baselga of the Andalusian Tourist Board. Please present the prize to Alexander Cejka.
This prize for the best tournament held here in Islandilla. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Alexander. Talked to you before the round. You looked very confident, but this was your first time leading going into the last round.
That's right. That was my first time leading the tournament. I was actually not really nervous. I hit the ball very good this week, and my short game was quite well, so I'm very happy that I won. That was my first title. I really can't believe it. I'm more nervous now than I was on the first tee. Thank you very much. I like to play here in Spain. I always played well, and now I won a tournament. Even in the winter time, I'm practice in Spain. And thank you for the sponsors, for Islandilla, that we could use the course. It was in a good conditions. And well, thank you for the people to support me. And well, thank you.
And you knew all along this week, leading going into that back 9 holes, you played a lovely front 9, 33, but you knew the back 9 would be a battle.
Yeah, I knew as you say, the back 9 was going to be a battle. And after I part 13, so it was quite well. I 3-putted 14, but still was in the lead. And then I was a little bit struggling. I was, a little bit tight, but in the end I made it. I'm very happy.
Well, an excellent tournament all around. Congratulations, your first win. Congratulations again, Alexander, from everybody here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Alexander Cejka, the winner of the Turespaña Open Andalucia. Well, he'll no doubt be off like we are to the Moroccan Open next week, or rather later this week. Anders Forsbrand defends there, but this was Cejka's winning putt on the final green at Andalucia. Went around the back and then it dropped in, but it didn't matter. He could have putted and still won. Let's just check on these final scores then. 71, 68, 70, 69 for Cejka, who won by 3 shots from Constantina Rocca. Only 2 other players under par, McGinley and Riley. This special presentation of the Golf Channel brought you in the cooperation with the PGA European Tour Productions. Congratulations again to our newest winner on tour, Alexander Cejka. From Andalucia, goodbye.